goes. This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland. Michigan sports aren't just a game, they're a way of life. And now we've got a show dedicated to die-hard sports fans like you. Hosted by a guy who's borderline obsessed with the wins and losses of all your favorite teams.
He's crazy.
Every weekday morning from 9 to noon, Ben Bosscher brings you the talk that matters. The teams, the stories, and the players you care about most. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair.
Remember that. Hello, and welcome into the Ben Bosscher Show, everybody. How about this? Bad boys. Bad boys. Man, we got the baddest basketball team on the planet. Those Detroit Pistons in action last night. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Tigers because guess what? We are one day away from spring training kicking off the season. Can you believe that? We're already here. It feels like the World Series was a couple days ago. And now we're here. Pitchers and catchers report tomorrow. That's not even the news of the day because, the Pistons decided to get in an old-fashioned street fight. Carolina brawl last night against the Hornets. They punked them. I want to discuss that. Before we do that, Dillon Clark, Saginaw Spirit, voice of the Saginaw Spirit, I should say, is here. How do you like the new studio?
Oh, I was just about to say this is fantastic. The new digs are beautiful.
This is the first guest other than John Vicari that we've had in the new studio.
Wow. All right.
So a lot of pressure.
That's a good first guest, though, John. John's a good first guest.
It was. He walked into the studio yesterday at about 11:40, and I said, John, come sit down. And he got really upset with all the AI ads from the Super Bowl, and he did like this whole 5-minute tangent on why AI is bad. It was really good.
We did start counting. I watched my girlfriend and I started counting. I think there were 9 AI ads in the Super Bowl.
Did they make you as irrationally upset as they did, John?
I was going to keep that to myself, but yeah, probably. I was upset.
What's going on with the Saginaw Spirit, man? Since the last time we talked, you guys 1-2. It feels like you guys don't play a lot of close games.
No, it's one or the other. It's
two different versions
one way
of
the
team.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of take your pick. That London game on Saturday, it was close for a time, but London seems to kind of find a way whenever they're in our building. They find a way to score timely goals, meaning that as soon as it gets tied up or it's a 1-goal contest or something like that, they find a way to come back with one of their own. So that was one. I mean, there were some good things to pull from that. I mean, I think the best work of the weekend obviously would have been that Friday night game against the Erie Otters. 4-1 win. Drew Roscoe scores his first OHL goal. Stepan Shurian was pretty complete. And you know what? I think just to go back to that London game, like you're not going to hang it entirely on anybody, and certainly not him with the work that he's put together this season. But I think there were a couple in that London game on Saturday that Stepan, he might want to have back. But 44 games on the year, like nobody's played more than that guy has this season. So if you're going to excuse a couple of questionable ones out of any goalie in the league, it's probably going to be him.
So what percent of the way through the season are we now? 60?
No, we're well past the 2/3 mark. We've got 17 games left on the season. So we're probably getting close to about 70% of the way there.
So if you haven't been to a game yet,
now's the
you
time.
got to make your way out. Or?
We're at home. We're at home 9 times in the month of February, so
it makes up for January when you guys were on the road for 3 straight weeks.
AWOL. We were gone. See ya. No, we're
may
back.
As well been the loons.
We're back.
We're not here.
We're back 9 times in February. We're in Flint tomorrow night. We're in Sarnia on Friday, and we're back home though against the Windsor Spitfires on Saturday. A little Valentine's Day action.
Ooh. Tell me first a little bit about the Flint game. It's right up the road. What is it? A half-hour drive?
Yeah, it's like 35 minutes.
So when you guys go on the road to their place, is it obviously it is technically a road game, but do you feel like it's almost an extension of a home game in a way?
Yeah, it's a home game with a different backdrop sometimes. I mean, it's just we play them. We're there 4 times a season during the regular season. Right now, if playoffs ended today, that would be our first round matchup. not to get everybody too excited, too far away from the playoffs. But Spirit fans travel so well. Obviously, it's going to be even better going down to Flint. There's always a couple sections that are predominantly Spirit fans, and the Firebirds they travel well. Their fans travel well up to the Dow Event Center too. That's what makes it such a fun rivalry, and that's why selfishly I wouldn't hate a Saginaw Flint first round again this year because it was so entertaining last time it happened in 2023.
Good for the ratings.
That being and that being said though, you hope for some more success. Like Flint's had I think all 6 games in the season series so far. This has been a challenging opponent for Saginaw this year, and understandably so. They're the best team in the Western Conference right now. They've played their best hockey to this point. They've won 6 out of their last 10. So Saginaw's got to kind of find a way. Turn the page after some mixed results on the weekend, and again, especially in that Saturday game against London.
Okay, so this Saturday, Valentine's Day game.
Yeah.
What do we got special planned out at the Dow Event Center?
Well, we're going to have it's not exactly Valentine's Day theme, but we're going to have our friends from A Kid again. They provide experiences to kids with kind of life-altering, life-threatening illnesses. So we'll have our friends from The Kid again out of the game with us. I don't know. I've been asked if I'm gonna. Somebody said I should get a red suit to wear on the broadcast.
If you could
find
one of those before Saturday, that'd almost be more impressive than wearing it throughout the broadcast.
I mean, like you could go like super cheap, right? Get one online. They have I don't know what they're called, but you can get like a terrible
basically
suit
a Halloween costume,
$60. Yeah, or like like the Christmas print ones. My cousin showed up to Christmas one time and he had like this Christmas suit on, and everybody thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I looked at him, I was like, I know what you are. He's like, you're not. I'm like, you don't impress me at all. This is disgusting.
That was $40 on Amazon.
Yeah, I was like, you don't impress me at all. He's like, shh. So I could get a red one. I don't know. I've never been a crazy suit guy. I can't pull it off.
What if it was like? Well, you guys have like red Spirit merch, right?
Yeah.
Wear some red jacket.
I've been
out on red.
I've been a suit guy. No. I love red. I've been a suit guy since the beginning. Like when I worked in the Federal Hockey League, when I was with Carolina and the Thunderbirds, like there were some other broadcasts. It was funny because it's like, some broadcasters, they just had their own style. Like some guys would just wear jerseys to call the game, which to me I was like, what are you doing? I don't know. I've always if you're calling the game, like you're wearing a suit or something like that. No, I mean,
you
like
and John would get along.
Well, I mean, like baseball's different though. Like if I called, because I mean, you guys are calling games like every day, and it's 1,000,000 degrees outside. Like then, like golf shirt, whatever is acceptable. Like
sure,
that's a different beast. But like,
John's thing with suits, right?
No,
he won't fly on a plane without wearing a suit. Even if he's just going home, like it's just for leisure. He refuses to fly unless he's in a suit.
I didn't know.
He's explained this to me.
That's amazing.
Kyle, jump in.
Flying is a luxury to John.
That's what he always says.
It's a luxury.
Is John secretly 70?
Yeah, no, it's not a secret.
Did John watch Mad Men one time? And he's like, you know what? That's how life should be.
He thinks it's a privilege to fly, and it needs to be a first-class experience across the board.
I mean,
which I understand that, but I also am like, hey, sweatpants, sweatshirt, it sounds pretty comfortable.
I've been mocked because I've worn jeans on a flight, because that's just in the middle. Like I wear like those are fine to me. I wore jeans a lot when I was a kid. I don't know. And people are like, what? You just laying around the house wearing jeans? You're on the plane wearing jeans? I'm like, yeah. They're not steel wool. But yeah, I understand. Like the point is, I understand being comfortable on the plane, like a hoodie, t-shirt, whatever, shorts, yeah.
And you're going to be comfortable in a red tuxedo on Saturday during the Halloween game.
I guess.
Or not the Halloween, the Valentine's Day game.
I should really throw everybody for a loop and just show up in like the David S. Pumpkin suit with jack-o'-lanterns all over. I got my holidays mixed up.
You know what would be better than the suit? Cupid. If you could find like a Cupid costume.
No shirt, diaper, and then like
the wings,
the bow and arrow.
What other promos you got coming up in February?
This will be my last appearance, by the way. We've actually got our Billet Appreciation Night coming up that'll be the 19th. That's next Thursday. So for people that might not know, like these kids that are coming to play for us, they're staying far from home. They're staying away from mom and dad for probably the first time in their lives. So our billet families here in Saginaw are a massive part of the experience. We quite literally couldn't do what we do without them, because they're feeding and housing and providing a kind of a family support system for these players that are trying to make a way in the OHL. So we'll be giving a little tip of the cap to them, saying thank you. We've also got our banner ceremony for Mr. Dennis DeRosier on February the 26th. That'll be, I believe, a Thursday night. So just for all that he's done for Saginaw hockey, which, I mean, we could have an entire show on that. First head coach of the Spirit back in 2002, but prior to that, he was the face of hockey in Saginaw for the Gears back in the 70s. Like, again, I don't know if you'll ever – now, it was the IHL, not the NHL, so it's a little bit of a different beast, but still, if you're going to score 60 goals and also spend 300 minutes in the penalty box, you are a rare breed, and you should have a banner. So that's what we're going to do.
That's excellent. How many more home games did you say? Ish?
We got 17 more games in total. We've got –
You said 9 in February,
we've got
right?
9 home games in February. We're 3 games into that. So I think we've got 9 home games left in total now from today where we sit.
Counting down.
So yeah, man, we're getting
playoff
close.
time.
It's and again, like we're in that 8th spot right now. We got 5 points on Sarnia. That's why these games this week against Flint, against Sarnia, against Windsor, these are all divisional opponents. That's why they're so important because, got to make sure that you hang on to that last spot, or if you could obviously get up to 7th and 6th and make it even more exciting that way. But yeah, we're getting close to the best time of the year. But of course, it's only the best time of the year if you're around for the dance.
Predictions for the Olympics.
Oh, geez. I don't.
And second favorite Olympic sport, Winter Olympic sport.
So, you know what? Curling is awesome. I love genuinely. I can zone out and just get dialed into curling. Like if it's on, I'm like, oh,
it's
okay.
incredible. They line it up perfectly, and then it hits one, and it stops, and then it kicks the other one off.
It's the great, and it's one of those things that I could do that. Like, no, you could
could
not.
not.
No, you could not. Just the finesse that you need, the ability to I can't
I like
read
the guys who shuffle down the thing.
I can't read a green to save my life. I think I'd be horrible at curling. Just that's and it's okay. So skeleton versus luge is the only difference the way you face. I just made this connection the other day.
Way you face and maybe just the way that the sled is. Like, I think the skeleton sleds go a little faster, and maybe that's because of the weight distribution. But I read that they can only practice that like 1 to 2 times a day because of how dangerous it is. Like, they're basically putting their life in jeopardy every time they go through a practice run.
That might leap over curling for me then as my second favorite. If you're putting your life on the line to go down on a sled, like I tip my cap to you.
Yeah. Predictions for U.S. hockey?
They need it. I don't know if they can pull out again. Like Bill Guerin is the GM of the men's Olympic hockey team. He's either going to look like a genius in the eyes of the entire country or a clown. And I love Bill Guerin. Like Bill Guerin won a Stanley Cup in Pittsburgh when I was growing up. He's done great things in Minnesota with the Wild as their general manager, and he's putting his neck out there with some of the roster decisions he's made. You're leaving some 40 goal scorers home and Jason Robertson and Cole Caulfield and those guys. So you hope that the Vincent Trocheck and JT Miller picks pan out. I'm not going to say that they will or they won't. Obviously, I'm going to hope for the best in a gold medal for the United States because I think it's been long enough.
One more question. Where can people get tickets?
SaginawSpirit.com.
There you go. Dillon Clark, voice of the Saginaw Spirit, joining us as he does every Tuesday. Dillon, hope you have fun during the games. Hope you dress as Cupid, too. I need to see some pictures of those for Saturday.
Thanks, man.
All right, when we come back, the Detroit Pistons, reincarnated bad boys. They're at it again last night, throwing haymakers with some familiar faces back from the old college days. Moussa Diabate, Miles Bridges, Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart, all ejected. Let's talk about it when we come back. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, live here on 100.9 The Mitt. A shout-out to Iron Stack Technologies, our sponsor for the 9 o'clock hour. They help businesses solve real technology problems securely, efficiently, and without the headache. When your IT is working the way it should, everything else gets a heck of a lot easier. Iron Stack Technology, solution-driven, mission-focused. Find them online at ironstacktechnology.com.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100. by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, welcome back into the show, everybody. Ben Bosscher with you, as always. Kyle Sandel behind the glass today. One more time, thanks to Dillon Clark for coming on. You guys can catch him during the Spirit Games. Man, I have been so excited to do today's show really since about, I don't know, that would have been 9 o'clock last night. So here's the play-by-play breakdown, I guess, as to what happened first. Obviously, I think by now you've probably seen the pictures or the videos of what happened. Here's my interpretation of the timeline of everything that went down. So it's already a chippy game between these two teams. The Hornets play this brand of basketball that's just, they're going to take a ton of threes, open space, spread the floor, and they want everything to work smoothly for them. It's the opposite of the Pistons grind it out, punish teams down in the paint type of basketball. And for a while, the Pistons were trailing in this game because of all the threes that the Hornets were hitting. It's honestly impressive that they hit as many threes as they did in the first half, and the Pistons still found a way to have a lead by the time halftime comes around. So third quarter rolls around, teams are feeling it. We find out after the game, Pistons were told in the locker room, hey, this is a team you might actually see in the playoffs. This is the hottest team in the league. They've won 9 in a row. Let's go punk them. So Moussa Diabate, Michigan fans, you remember him as the moron who could never catch a basketball when they threw it to him in the paint. He hard fouls Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren, as the Pistons do every single game, is like, not happening. So he kind of just walks right up to him. Moussa Diabate, this is mistake number one. I've convinced myself somehow that the Pistons did nothing wrong. This is mistake number one for Moussa Diabate. Walks up to Jalen Duren and, pushes his head up. It wasn't like a headbutt, but it was like a slow-motion headbutt. Rested his head against his head. Jalen Duren did one of these, get the hell out of my face. You have 0 points.
Hell no!
You have 0 points, Moussa Diabate. You have no business being in my grill right now. So he puts his hand on his face and pushes him away. It was not a punch. It was not a slap. It was a get out of my face. Moussa Diabate and Miles Bridges freak out. Freak out. Moussa Diabate is being held back by all of his teammates, this coaching staff. He's just throwing guys around. Nonsense. You would have thought someone shot his grandmother in front of his eyes. He was losing his mind. Why? Why? Because the Pistons had punked them for 2.5 quarters, and they weren't used to that physicality. And when he finally, got his hands laid on him, he was so frustrated because he had 0 points that he just lost his mind. And Miles Bridges, bad guy all around, it also loses his mind and starts throwing guys around, trying to swing at Jalen Duren. And for what felt like 3 minutes was actually probably 25 seconds, Moussa Diabate is just running at Duren, trying to get around everybody, just continuously swinging at him, and Duren does the right thing. He just kind of walks away. He tries to de-escalate the situation by removing himself from the location of what's going on. Moussa Diabate finds him anyway and makes his way through the crowd and keeps swinging. Jalen Duren squares up, but he doesn't throw another punch, just keeps backing away and being like, dude, this is not what you want. You do not want any of this smoke, and I believe him. So he once again leaves the situation. I've watched this probably 50 times by now. I love it. And then Miles Bridges goes all the way around the crowd, finds Jalen Duren, and then throws a punch at him. That's when Jalen Duren throws the first punch in response to Miles Bridges, convicted felon, throwing the first punch. Then Stone Cold music hits. Oh my God, it's Isaiah Stewart. Comes running off the bench and has a real problem with Miles Bridges throwing a punch at Jalen Duren, and that's where Isaiah Stewart comes in and starts swinging. So here's where I'm at with this. First of all, number one takeaway from last night, we got the most badass team on the planet. You want this smoke? You get this smoke. Second takeaway, I'm really not that sure of what the Pistons did wrong. Jalen Duren said, get the hell out of my face, and Moussa Diabate lost his mind. So did Miles Bridges. Lost their minds. Now, should Isaiah Stewart have come off the bench? That's where we can kind of throw that up to debate. He's going to get suspended. All right, Charles Lee, the Hornets head coach, a little bit later on in the game, also got ejected because he freaked out on the official. Like, knew immediately he was getting ejected. The only debate here, in my eyes, is should Isaiah Stewart have come off the bench? Smart person answers no. He's already got 9 technicals this year. If you get to 14, you start missing games. But because he was on the bench, he's for sure getting suspended for, 5 games, 10 games. We'll see what ends up happening. And he could become ineligible to make an all-defensive team, which, if you're a Pistons fan, obviously you're rooting for him to make an all-defensive team. He's one of the best protectors of the rim in the NBA. Can switch onto the perimeter as well. So that would be a big stink for him. It also just, when you got this important game stretch coming up next week or after the All-Star break, it's going to suck to lose Isaiah Stewart if he's not in some of these games against OKC and against San Antonio as well. Like, to not have Isaiah Stewart out there would suck. It really would. Who knows? Jalen Duren might get suspended too, even though, again, I'm not really sure what he did wrong. He tried to de-escalate the situation by leaving, and the Hornets players continued to attack him. Bottom line, this is a playoff matchup that could very well happen, 1 versus 8. The Pistons got the most badass team on the planet. They are the Bad Boys reincarnated into the 2025-26 version of this team. If you want to, I don't like the NBA, they don't play defense, you're clearly not watching the Detroit Pistons. I love this team, man. I try to remove myself from being a fan and from being biased with this team. Stuff like that. Yesterday, how can you not love this team? We're the villains. I love being the villains. I say we like I'm on the team. But, man, it is so fun when everyone is out to get you every night. And that's exactly what JB Bickerstaff said after the game. My team gets an unfair whistle, and then they get frustrated. Tempers flare. Here's what JB Bickerstaff said after the game during his press conference.
When you go back and watch the film, they ran multiple guys at JD. JD and Stu consider themselves to be brothers. And if you run 2 guys at 1 guy and, you've already crossed the line, human instinct tells him to protect his little brother. I hate it for Stu because of the things that are going to follow. But again, we weren't the ones that crossed the line tonight and initiated this.
Badass basketball team. You believe this team can win the finals. Do you believe Isaiah Stewart was in the wrong, or did he have every right to come off the bench and protect his brother like JB Bickerstaff said? 989-837-6125. We'll get to your thoughts, Kyle's thoughts. We got the Mitt messages open as well, Facebook, YouTube comments. We'll get to your guys' opinions on this when we come back. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, live on 100.9 The Mitt. As always, brought to you by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. Protect your home with Bresky Siding and Building Repair, the experts who do the job right the first time. Whether you have a leaky roof, storm damage, siding looking a little tired, Bresky's got you covered. Locally owned, trusted, and dedicated to keeping Midland area homes safe and looking sharp. Quality materials, skilled craftsmanship, and service that puts your family first. Do not wait for the next storm. Do call Bresky Siding and Building Repair today and keep your home strong for years to come.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on
coming without no money, girl. Come on.
By Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
Bad boys. Bad boys. I every day we inch a little bit closer of this team just being a replica of the OG Bad Boys. This has become so fun. And now, like, it's funny because I'm not actually sure if they're better at basketball or just being badass. Because they're pretty damn good at both. Number 2 in defensive rating, second best defense in the NBA. Number 2 in opponent field goal percentage. Number 1 in steals. Number 1 in blocks. Here's a fun one for you. Number 1 in fouls, because ain't nothing come easy against the Detroit Pistons. They're tough. And that's been proven for years. But now they're actually winning games and have a legitimate chance, in my eyes, to win an NBA championship this year. No team in the Eastern Conference has beat them more than once this season. They're 39-13. That's the best record in the East by 5 games. It's the second best record in the NBA, only behind OKC, who's played 2 more games. They have the same amount of losses. OKC just has 2 more wins. They have a real chance, Kyle, in my eyes, to win the NBA title this season. Yes, they are a flawed team. I don't know if anyone's tough enough to get through them, though. That's the problem. They are so tough. I'm not really convinced that there's a team skilled enough to go through them because, oh my God, they're going to make you do that.
Yeah, I mean, last night is like the perfect example of what the Pistons are, right? They can't shoot the basketball all game. Charlotte is knocking down every shot, and yet the Pistons just aren't out of the game because of their defense. Like, Charlotte was hitting every shot, and yet they still they scored barely over 100 points in the game.
Yeah, I think they were 11 for 20 from 3 at one point.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. They had a half-court shot at the end of the first quarter. Like, it was a pure definition of what the Pistons are. And I think the best point that you made in that first part was, like, to anyone that still has the mantra of, oh, the current NBA, it's not tough. They don't play tough. Defense, this, that. Like, watch last night's game, man. Watch Pistons Hornets. Not only were they playing defense, they were trying, man. And it's like that on a nightly basis. Like, both teams cared about that game. That shows why, obviously, everything happened the way that it did. But, like, Charlotte, I mean, they're the hottest team in the NBA. Like, they want to continue to have that win streak. They're doing it in front of their home crowd. Like, they've continued to pick up play. And then Detroit, of course, is the best team in the East. So, It was just an unreal game. My range of emotions was going crazy because as soon as the fight starts to happen, I'm like, oh, let's go. Like, I'm kind of like getting a little bit hyped up in my chair, but then in the back of my head, I'm like, wait, I don't want anyone to fight, because then it means, like suspensions, this and that.
I'm all for it. Once they cross the line, I'm just go as far as possible.
Sure, but and obviously, like, and then when you hear Johnny Kane just yell, oh, and here comes Isaiah Stewart.
Oh God, it's Isaiah. Isaiah's here. What is he doing
I'm like,
here?
let's go, like, killing beef stew. Like, I got that going in my head, but then I'm like, no, wait, like, we really can't afford him to get suspended again. So a lot of different range of emotions going on, but nonetheless, like, I think the best one is the fact that nobody's messing with the Pistons. Like, and you have to embrace it if you're a fan. I think everybody does embrace it. Like, I think that's the best part.
Oh, they're the villains. Kyle, you've known this for a long time. I think being the villain in the sport is way more fun. The Pistons officially, like, everyone knew that they were like a tough team. Hey, don't mess with these guys. Like, they're coming in and they're trying to start stuff. Now it's like just the most well-known fact across the league. Like, these guys are punks. I'm all for it.
I am too, and I think RP in our YouTube chat just brings up the best point. Like, I just love how the dog pound, they stick up for each other.
Yes.
Like, no matter, you mess with one of them, you're getting all of them.
Yep.
Like, and I just love that is embraced. And Isaiah Stewart, in the tunnel, you saw that video this morning of him, that audio coming out. Like, what do you expect me to do? Sit on the bench? And that's kind of what JB said in the postgame. Like, yeah, I don't love Isaiah Stewart, what's going to happen to Isaiah Stewart, but what do you think he's going to do? Sit there and let Miles Bridges just walk up to him and try to punch him? Like,
he also
hell no.
stayed on the bench as long as he possibly could.
Right,
like,
until Bridges got
fought
involved.
The urge the entire time. And then, yeah, once Bridges worked his way all the way around the court to relocate Duran and just sucker punch him.
Yeah, just out of nowhere.
That's when Stu was like, nope, I need to get involved.
Yeah, it was a one-on, it was Musa and Duran just kind of, it wasn't even a real fight, I don't think, at that point. It was kind of just...
It was Diabate losing his mind.
Right, Diabate just freaking out, becoming a psycho, and everyone trying to separate him, and Isaiah Stewart stayed on the bench. And then, obviously, once Bridges turned it into a 2v1, that's when Isaiah Stewart has to get involved. I love the point Chris brings up in the YouTube chat, too, because I texted you guys this immediately.
Thank God Ron Holland wasn't
Thank
there.
God Ron Holland was out with personal reasons. I hope, obviously, everything's okay. I don't know what the personal reasons are, but he was not at the game last night. Absolutely would have punched someone. Like, 1,000% would have punched someone in that. He's probably upset he wasn't there because he would have wanted to. I mean, he is always he's always ready to scrap. So, yeah, that was just a crazy game. And it sucks because it takes away from an awesome Cade performance.
Oh, incredible.
Like, Cade just continues to be one of the clutcher guys in the league. And, man, he was awesome down the stretch. You thought that maybe the ejection was going to spark Charlotte a little bit. It did not. It absolutely did not faze them at all. Tobias and Duncan hit back-to-back threes right after the ejection. And Paul Reed, man.
Yes, yeah. Paul Reed.
Let's give Paul Reed some minutes here, man.
Every time that either Stu or Duran foul out or get ejected or just are not in the game, Paul Reed he comes in and just gets buckets. And that's exactly what he did yesterday. B-ball Paul, 12 points. He's not even in the rotation on most nights. Anytime one of the guys in the dog pound's not in, though, he steps up. He did it against the Rockets, game 2 of the season, when it was Stu fouled out and Duran got thrown out pretty early. B-ball Paul comes in and scores 13. Last night, obviously, both Stu and Duran get ejected, part of 5 ejections last night in the third quarter. B-ball Paul comes in and just lights a flame into his jump shot. I love this guy. I love this team. How can you not?
I know. Special K put it the best, man. He just continuously, I love B-ball Paul. I love Paul Reed. He as soon as he hits that three,
you got to say it with a little more passion.
I love Paul Reed. That's awesome analysis, because I love Paul Reed too, Special K. Like, and the funniest part is they showed the angle of the bench when all this was going down.
Isaiah Stewart was like bouncing, unleash me.
Paul Reed also tried to get involved, and he got held back. And I can't remember who held him back. Whoever did, you're the real MVP of last night's game.
They don't win that game without
the Pistons would have had no bigs. Paul Reed just played the entire rest of the game after not getting, he logged 0 minutes prior to checking into the game. And they're probably going to need him to play 48 minutes against Toronto as well if Jalen Duran gets suspended. So, nonetheless, though, like...
I don't understand why Duran would get suspended here. I really don't.
I think he gets a game, just based off of the history of what the NBA does in these situations. If you at all, have a swinging motion... It's a suspension, and he did. I understand what you're saying.
At him. What is he supposed to do? Just eat it?
I think that's what the league wants them to do. I understand that it's pretty dumb, but I think that's what they are trying to refrain from any fighting, and that's kind of leading it on as well.
Which is hilarious.
I think
because
it's dumb.
Now, if you ask, hey, what are the 5 biggest fights in the NBA since the 2000, like in this century? Pistons are 3 of them now, with the Malice at the Palace, Isaiah Stewart trying to murder LeBron James, and what happened last night. You don't really see guys come off the bench and get involved because it's an automatic suspension.
Right.
Stu doesn't care. He really doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, they were going at his guy. Like, it's that simple. Like, and obviously it's lucky it was just him because sometimes when one guy leaves the bench, then the whole bench clears, and then this turns to a way bigger thing. So
Ron Holland for sure would have left the bench.
Cade Cunningham just continuing to show like why he's not only one of the best players in the NBA, but he's one of the best leaders in the NBA at a young age.
Great point.
Like doing his best to just keep everybody out of it. Obviously, Stu and Duren, you just really can't, but like he was doing his best to keep Stu refrained from doing anything more.
Yeah, even
he doesn't get involved. I mean, Cade was right in the mix. He was right in the middle of all of this, and he doesn't get involved at all because he's a great leader, and he knows that he can't be doing that. Obviously, the other guys are a little bit of a different story.
Well, he also knows he's got to make sure his dogs stay on the leash a little bit because if they get off the leash, they're getting suspended, and then he doesn't have his dogs for the next game.
Right, exactly. It just overall, I mean, like you watch last night's game, and you think Bad Boys, like you and I didn't get to watch the Bad Boys. We just hear about them. We've seen highlights of them. You watch documentaries, this and that about them.
Shout out to the COVID summer when I watched all the finals games.
I've seen that Bad Boys 30 for 30
Incredible.
like 1,000 times. It was on TV during COVID like every night. So you get to watch all of it. But man, it's fun to see people that did watch those teams talk about this team like that. That's the part that gets me most excited because you got the poster right behind you. The Bad Boys won championships in Detroit. And people are comparing this current aura of this team. They kind of match the identity of a back-to-back championship team in Detroit. That gets everybody excited.
Well, remember last year they claimed they were it was the going back to work Pistons instead of the going to work. It's the going back to work. And now they've just been like, you know what? We're just going all the way.
It's just Bad Boys 2.0.
Yeah, we're just leaning all the way.
For real, and obviously they have to, achieve some success to, I think, officially earn that title.
But that's
they're
kind of where, like,
they're working their way there.
I think this team is flawed. I really do. They're not perfect. They're not some world beater. They're so tough, though, that I look around the Eastern Conference. Who are we afraid of? The Celtics? Not really. They've won the season series 3-1.
The Cavs have been playing good basketball.
Them. Yeah, James
and we
Harden.
play them right after the All-Star break, so that will be fun to see. The Knicks, I think, we keep destroying them, but man, another playoff series against them, I would just love to see. I think that would just be fun as far as what if we get Hornets Pistons, by the way, in round one?
I was just gonna say the Pistons are now getting into a point where they've made so many enemies across the league, which never was the case for years because you were so bad you can't really make enemies. Now they've gotten into skirmishes with the Hornets, the Knicks. I know they're in the West, but man, I really don't think they mess around with
Houston.
the Suns or Houston for that matter.
Boston, I think that they've gotten into a bit of a the games they've played this year at least have all been so good down to the wire games that it feels like something is building there.
They bring the energy.
Yeah.
They bring the effort. They bring the Bad Boys mentality of, hey, every time you step on the floor against us, whether it's game 1, game 62, game 14, or in the playoffs, you're going to have to deal with the physicality that we bring to the again, number 1 in the NBA in fouls. I'm fine with it. Nothing comes easy against this team, and you got to earn it. Not only mentally, but physically. You are going to be punished physically through a 4-game series or a 7-game series, I should say, against this playoff team. They wear teams down.
And I
love it.
I do too. And I think the biggest reason to be a fan of this team and why we continue to just watch them and think, I love this team. That's just kind of the quick quote you say, is because in the NBA, you a lot of the times look at the effort and defense played in the playoffs versus game 50 in the regular season, and you can notice a clear difference. You watch last night's Pistons game and watch game 4 against the Knicks last year in the playoffs, it's the same level of intensity.
From the first quarter to the fourth.
It is the same, and it's like that in
and
every
I love
single
doing it to
game.
LaMelo.
And
I hate that guy so much. In the Big 2-6, people are still trying to convince me he's a franchise player. They were mugging him last night. Mugging him. Like that possession where he walks his way up the floor, dribbling. He just plays basketball in such a disrespectful way in my eyes. And we're just like, no, screw that. And they jump on the ball and basically knock him over and tackle him. And it's a loose ball, man. Anything goes. I love it. They're still kind of in the honeymoon phase, though, with their fans. Like, they can't really do anything wrong right now.
with Pistons.
This is like Lions in 23-24.
The playoffs will do. You know,
wrong.
if they lose a playoff series, that now that they're the 1 seed, there's expectations. Last year it was like they made the playoffs, let's go. They put up a good fight against a really good Knicks team.
And JB made some bad mistakes, some very critical mistakes.
Right. But right now we're in the phase that we're loving it, and I'm loving it as well.
Do you believe Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren are to blame in this situation? I will be fairly upset if Jalen Duren gets a suspension. I don't think he did anything wrong. I do expect Isaiah Stewart to get a suspension, and that's fine in my missing him sucks. Don't get me wrong. They've got a big enough lead though in the East where you feel okay about that. And until they start to blow games and let teams catch up, I'm not going to start to even speak that into existence. I think he had every right to come off the bench and do what he did, because he stayed on the bench as long as possible. Miles Bridges is the one that was acting like a lunatic. Oh, you know what? Another takeaway. Hey, Adam Silver, maybe we shouldn't give second chances to convicted felons and people who have domestic violence cases against them. 10-game suspension. That's what Miles Bridges had. 10-game suspension for beating the crap out of his girlfriend. 10 games. Welcome back into the league. Look what happens. 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mitt, as always, brought to you by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. This summer, sun's out right now. Starting to get the itch. Cervinsky sod can roll your lawn out, literally. Top-grown, quality sod that turns patchy yards into backyard showstoppers, and they've been doing it for over 50 years, which means they're experts. Whether you're fixing a rough spot or redoing your whole yard, Cervinsky delivers lush, green perfection. Fast, friendly, and farm fresh, because your grass should be greener right now. Don't settle for increase the value of your home and get the lawn your neighbors will envy with Cervinsky sod.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and
Let's get to some people's thoughts on this. Rob from Saginaw, he's texting. He says, all I got to say is, bad boys. Dillon shouldn't get suspended. Beef stew, yeah, obviously came off the bench. Great show. Keep it up. Can't wait to call in next week. Thank you, Rob, from Saginaw, texting in. I'm going to be off-put a lot if Jalen Dillon gets suspended. I would love to ask Adam Silver, what did he do wrong? He tried to remove himself from the situation. Moussa Diabate is the one that got up in his grill. He pushed him away, and then he walked away. And then he was walking back to his bench, and Miles Bridges came out and threw a punch at him. What's he supposed to do? Eat it? He swung back. That's the only swing that Dillon had. Stu loses his mind, comes off the bench. But I don't really know why Jalen Dillon would get suspended in this situation.
I just think he's going to, but he'll get the least amount of suspension. Like Bridges and Diabate are getting suspended for sure, like multiple games. And then obviously Beef Stew's suspension definitely is going to be it's going to be multiple games. I just don't know if it's going to be 3. Is it going to be 5? Is it going to be more than that? I don't know. The coming off the bench thing is something that the NBA has really cracked down on.
I'm trying to recall how many games Isaiah Stewart was suspended when he tried to murder LeBron James.
Well, LeBron got suspended for more than Isaiah Stewart did.
LeBron got a 1-game suspension. Isaiah Stewart got a 2-game suspension.
I thought LeBron got more.
No.
What? That's dumb.
He got 1. Stu got... Well, why would LeBron get more than Stu in that?
Because LeBron absolutely started that. LeBron elbowed him in the fit, like a very malicious hit.
But then he didn't try to murder Isaiah Stewart. Isaiah Stewart tried to murder LeBron James.
That could have murdered him, man.
So if we're using that logic,
Stu's getting 3 games, like at minimum 3 games. I think. The coming off the bench thing. The coming off the bench thing is just something that the NBA really is anti.
And it's like 2nd, 3rd, 4th offense for him, which the NBA openly says, it's something we consider.
That's what I was going to say. It's also a repeat offender. It's like when Draymond Green gets something happen to him, they always suspend him for longer than anyone else because it's not his first offense. And so, unfortunately, that's going to hurt Isaiah Stewart in this case.
So, what would our predictions be? Dillon gets 1 game. Moussa gets... it feels like he's going to get more than 2, but if Isaiah Stewart only got 2, then why would Moussa get any more than that?
I think it's going to be 1 for Dillon, probably 2 apiece for Bridges and Diabate, maybe an extra 1 for Bridges just because
he threw the punch.
Well, and he continued it too. Like everything was dialing down, and then he kind of continued the fight to go on. So
Moussa 2, Bridges 3, and Dillon 1, Stu
3 to 5, somewhere in that mix. Yeah, which is going to obviously hurt. Like. The Pistons are lucky that they probably have the best big man rotation in the league. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I would
Houston
say so.
has a really good one as well, but just the fact that they have Paul Reed a lot of teams would use him as a backup center, and he gets no minutes on a nightly basis because he's the 3rd string. They benefit heavily from that. So it's not like the end of the world, but like you said, it's more of the all defensive stuff. It doesn't
losing
help
his paint protection,
right? And it's Isaiah Stewart these technicals that come down in the playoffs, like this counts as a technical foul, so this is going to add to his maybe likely suspension coming once he reaches that number. So I don't know.
He's still a little bit further away than you would imagine because I believe this was, I had it written down. It's either his 8th or 9th foul. He already has 8. I think yesterday was his 8th. So he still needs 6 more technical fouls before he ends up getting the suspension. And then after that, it's every 2 technicals is a 1-game suspension. He does have to tame himself down once he returns. But again,
I don't think he
stayed
does,
on
man.
the bench as long as possible.
I disagree. I just think that, of course, it's going to hurt the Pistons if it does end up costing him a suspension in the playoffs, obviously. But
if he walks into the playoffs with 11 techs, we're fine.
Sure. I don't want him to change who he is. I don't want him to change his identity because then that changes the Pistons' identity. Like, he is the guy that steps in if anybody wants to start anything with Detroit. And I think that totally embodies how good they are. Like, you see how the Pistons bounced back after those ejections last night? They came out hot. Like, it got them going from deep.
It's a legitimate fear factor that most NBA teams lack. Like, what was the last NBA team to have an enforcer the way that Stu does? Where it's just like, no, we actually can't start anything.
A literal
with
enforcer. He enforces on defense. He's the best rim protector in the league, and he's the most feared guy in the league from a let's
if I
scrap
start anything,
standpoint.
he will actually start it.
Literally, man.
I can't really.
That's so valuable.
Is it as far back as the Bad Boys? Like the last guy we had that's like, yeah, man, we just can't really start anything with the other team.
I mean, there's probably some guys in the 2000s when there was that era as well. But, like, it just in the modern day of the
World
NBA.
Peace, probably?
That's a good one. Yeah, Ron Artest, definitely, yeah.
Ron Artest. Yeah, it probably would have to be Ron Artest. I'm trying to think of anybody. But, like, there's a lot of people that are fake tough who, like, want to come off as if they're going to start something. Stu has proven he will. He is unafraid of starting something. He's also unafraid of finishing something that has been started already. 989-837-6125. 10 o'clock hour on the way. We're having Chris Castellani on in the 11 o'clock hour. Stay tuned. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on the Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding.
This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
We'll get back to beef stew. We'll get back to the Detroit Pistons. I promise. Don't worry. Spring training, though, starts tomorrow. Can you believe we're already... This always happens with the MLB season. It ends. It feels like October World Series was a couple days ago. And just like that, before you know it, spring training has arrived. I've got 5 questions for you, Kyle. 5 looming questions heading into spring training for the Detroit Tigers.
Let's do it.
Question number 1. The most fascinating question I have. Like, number one thing I need to know the answer to. Is there going to be an everyday third baseman this season? In other words, is Colt Keith our everyday third baseman? Or are we doing this rotating nonsense of Javi Baez and Zach McKinstry and Colt Keith? Because in my eyes, you didn't pay Colt Keith for no reason. I know there's no salary cap and you could just eat the salary if he stinks. If the Tigers are going to take that step forward offensively, though, this year and become a team that's a little bit more than just a above average offense, I think that basically stems from two things. Riley Green cutting his strikeouts down and Colt Keith taking that next step forward and being a 20 to 25 plus home run type of player and being able to be a consistent part of your top 2 to 3 guys in your lineup or I guess top 5 guys in your lineup. One thing that I think derailed his first half of the season last year was, hey, you're the everyday first baseman. Hey, now you're playing first base every day. Hey, now Torkelson's good, so you're going to play third and sometimes second and be in all these different spots. I think that just kind of threw him off. He's playing 2 different positions that he had never played before, plus second base, which it's not like he was some elite defender in the first place. My number one question going into the Tigers spring training is Colt Keith just going to be the third baseman? Can we please just allow that to happen and Zach McKinstry can be the utility guy who can fill in anywhere and come in off the bench? But, man, I'd rather just have Colt Keith out there pretty much every day, whether it's a lefty or a righty.
I think the Tigers not acquiring a third baseman should mean yes to your question, right? Because all that Scott Harris has spoken about is he doesn't want to block the development of his guys. And that's not just about, like, Kevin McGonigal and Max Clark. Like, it's about the guys that are on the roster. I mean, that was the whole discussion he had with Parker Meadows last year. Like, he didn't want to block Parker Meadows. He wanted to give him a chance to come back from his injury and be healthy and be a good player. And so that should apply to Colt Keith as well. Now, Gleyber Torres returning, I don't know if they planned on that, but clearly they eventually, like once they signed Gleyber Torres, I don't know if they originally thought this was going to be a multi-year thing with him. Obviously, they wanted him to return with giving him the qualifying offer, and he accepted it. So I would think, yes. I would think that this means Colt Keith is going to be the third baseman every day, just based on, we had discussed what are the positions that they could acquire. They need another right-handed bat, and third base kind of felt like that spot just because Alex Bregman was there. I think that was just almost it's such an ideal scenario, so we want that to happen. They didn't go do it. Obviously, they didn't acquire any sort of third baseman, so I would lean yes. I think that Colt Keith is going to be the everyday third baseman. He didn't get a ton of run versus lefties last year. He also played designated hitter a ton a year ago as well.
True.
But them moving him to third base, like, towards the end of the season last year was a clear, like, sign that they want Colt Keith to play every day. I think that, yeah, he might still be a guy that gets subbed out in the 7th inning if there's a lefty on the mound. Like, I think that's fine. But, yeah, he should be in the lineup every day at the start of every lineup. I agree.
I'm with you. Question number 2. Is Kevin McGonigal really going to just skip AAA? I think if he kind of balls out during spring training and has like the Torkelson type of spring training where it's like, hey, man, we were going to put you in Toledo, but we kind of are forced to put you in on the major league roster right now because of how great of a spring training you've had. Again, you got to take spring training numbers with a grain of salt, but Torkelson's spring training numbers last year translated pretty well to the season to where it was like, okay, this guy is clearly just raking right now in Lakeland. Who's to say he can't keep this up? And sure enough, he did throughout most of the season. If McGonigal can hit the ground running and be an effective player in spring training, I really don't see why he can't start the season with the Tigers and skip AAA in general. Now, I'll say this. Once he's with the Tigers, I don't think there's he probably shouldn't go back down. He's probably just got to stay here for the long run. However, like, unless it gets to a point where it's just so bad where they don't have a choice. They have to send him down like they did with Spencer Torkelson 2 seasons ago. But there's such a hole at the shortstop position. I know Javi's there and he had a good year last year, but I think Javi's almost more valuable now because he can play third, short, and center field more so than just his ability to play shortstop. Like it's not like his shortstop skills are so good that it's like you want him out there every day. It's not necessarily the player he is. It's nice that he's versatile now. They need help at shortstop. Why can't Kevin McGonigal just contribute day one. So my question is Kevin McGonigal really going to skip AAA?
This is a tough one because we haven't really seen any Tigers skip AAA yet as far as their top prospects. But, of course, AAA is the level that you spend the least amount of time at.
Yeah.
You know, if you spend most of the time in AA or in high A, and if you succeed at that level, you're probably going to be pretty good in AAA. So it's not like even if McGonigal is to spend some time there, there's no way it would be more than a month, you know, unless he was bad, obviously. But, yeah, I think it really just depends on how his spring training goes. As high as they are on the guy, there was talks about bringing him up in the playoffs last year. Remember that? Like that. Not saying that from the Tigers, but
I wanted it to happen.
Right. So I would think he starts this season, as odd as I think it would be, just because they maybe learned their lesson a little bit with rushing Torkelson up. I think that I think he will be on the roster day one. I do believe that, just because like they didn't bring anybody in. You know, like this roster didn't add anybody. So
Right.
It's not like they're
same team on offense.
It's not like they're like forcing new roster spots, like, oh, that we don't have room for him, because like if anything, they lost Andy Ibanez. Okay, that's another infield spot that needs to get replaced. So I would believe that he's on the roster day one.
Question 3. I'm getting Riley Green in front of a microphone, and for the very first time, Riley, what did you do this offseason to help cut down on your swing and miss? Very straightforward question, but a question I need a good answer to. I need you to tell me what drills you were doing, how much of a focus it was, what you did to prioritize it, because we cannot have another 200 strikeout season from our best bat. It just can't happen.
So what drills does he have to do for you to be like, okay, yeah, I trust this?
Here's the thing. I don't need a specific answer.
Right.
Well, no. I do need a specific answer. It has to be a thought out answer. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear, oh yeah, it was something I worked on. Like, no, like be able to explain to us how you, like what you did to make sure that was a priority. I want to feel as if it was a priority for Riley Green. I don't like what drills he needs to be doing is beyond me. I'm not a baseball coach. Never have been, never will be. But I need to understand from Riley Green that it was a clear priority to fix. Because what I can't do is, well, like remember at the end of last season when he wasn't taking accountability for it? It was
that's what I was just going to ask.
I like my approach at the plate, and like I hit some home runs, so we don't really view it as that big of an issue. What? You struck out 200 times, brother.
I here's what I will say. Like, what's going to cause him to do this, though? Because, like, you just explained it. That's the point I was going to make. At the end it's not like at the end of the year he didn't strike out a ton. Like, he had the full season behind him of him striking out all season. And he just talked about, like, my approach is to go up there and have a big swing. And I'm trying to make a big play for our team every time I'm at the plate. And I just don't understand if they would want him to change that approach, because clearly that was something they wanted him to do this year, right?
Yes.
Now, maybe they probably didn't want him to strike out as much as he did, of course. Probably wanted him to have a better OPS than he did the year prior. Like, his numbers were down from the year before.
But I would tell you he was a better player last year than he was 2 years ago.
I think so, too. But, like, he also struck out a crap ton of times.
Yes.
So, like,
second in Major League Baseball.
I would honestly feel like maybe it's going to be more of a natural thing. Like, he's just going to strike out less because this was his first year of kind of doing the I want to hit a home run every time I swing the bat approach. And so naturally he probably just gets better with that approach since it was year one last year. But I don't know. I'm not sure.
You don't got to take everything to 400 feet out, though. Just hit the gap if you get a pitch where you think you can make good contact.
But then we sit here and talk about how the Tigers need more home runs, too. Like, you know, that's something we've always talked about.
The home runs will come, though, if you're just chasing good contact. Like, when you're specifically going out of your way.
25 home runs will come. Like, Riley Green's trying to be a 45 to 50 homer guy. He clearly is.
If he's going to do that, either way, he needs to cut down on the strikeouts.
For sure.
Regardless of how the cookie crumbles, the 200 strikeouts can't happen again. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. Fourth question. Hey, Reese Olson, you all right? What's going on here? You healthy? You pitching for us this year? Why did we just sign Framber Valdez to be the sixth guy in the rotation? Obviously, he's not the sixth best pitcher, but like there's clearly an outcast now. Who is that going? Like, is Reese Olson just not healthy, and it's made the decision's been made for AJ Hinch as to who the five guys are going to be? Because right now there's just one too many guys in the rotation, and I'm not exactly sure how they're tackling that.
This part confuses me because obviously we got that Petzold article like last week, I believe, that kind of threw this out there that is Reese Olson really healthy? Which, remember at the end of the year last year, it was like, hey, Reese Olson might be able to come back if they make the championship series. Okay, now he's not healthy and it's been 6 months. Like,
what happened?
Yeah, that feels odd to me. So that's one that I don't really understand. Yeah, I would love to get an update on Reese Olson too, because it seems like everything is in question with him right now.
Question 5. Who is the starting center fielder opening day? Is it Javi Baez? Is it Parker Meadows? Do we even know the answer? Is Parker Meadows on a shorter leash? Like, what's going on out in there? Because we talk so much about who's playing third base for this team. I think the bigger question is what's going on in center field right now. Because if Parker doesn't hit and hit the ground running, has Javi Baez become our everyday center fielder? Has Wenzel Perez earned himself a spot to just be in the starting?
That's the name
lineup?
I was going to toss out. Like,
but you remember how bad he was in the playoffs, right?
Sure,
Until
I remember,
he delivered.
and I remember how bad Colt Keith and Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson all were in the playoffs too.
Fair.
You know, like, it's not like it was just Wenzel Perez. Yeah,
but
he wasn't
Perez's
great.
approach was the one that was like, dude, you're just going out there
Sure,
and
I
swinging
agree.
at everything.
But also, like, what are we're not gonna act like Parker Meadows is some elite bat either.
Oh
like,
no, not at all.
Yeah, and so here, like the thing
buried
is,
at the 9 spot all year.
I would believe that if the Tigers are a team that is going to have a rotation at least at one position, right? Just based off of the way that AJ Hinch loves to substitute and bring in guys and get the right matchups at the plate and everything. So if it's not going to be third base, it's going to be center field. This is going to be the spot where, like, oh, Parker Meadows is the day 1 starting fielder. Oh, day 2 it's Javi Baez. Oh, now it's Wenzel Perez. Oh, Zach McKinstry's getting some run in center field. Did we forget Matt Vierling exists? Oh, he's getting some run in center field.
The answer to that is yes, I did forget Matt Vierling.
Oh, Ryan
exists.
Kreidler, he's going to get his 10 games at Major League every year out in center field this week. You know, like, so I think that that's going to be the rotation spot, and it's not really going to matter. But yeah, it's
right, because why would we block Max Clark? Sarcasm. 989-837-6125. Hey, after the show today, I'm headed to the Greater Midland Community Center, your hub for health, wellness, and fun, right here in the Great Lakes Bay region. From fitness classes and open gym swimming to youth sports, family activities, there's something for everybody. Affordable memberships, expert staff, and a welcoming space for all ages and abilities. If you're hosting an event, ask about their rental spaces for full-service event support. Stay active, stay connected, all under one roof. That is Greater Midland Community Center. Learn more or sign up today at greatermidland.org.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Myth.
Welcome back in. Odds of the Pistons winning the Eastern Conference and maybe an NBA championship. It feels more likely than it ever has. After they destroyed New York again, I really started to question who in the Eastern Conference can beat them in a 7-game series. Hornets, hottest team in the league. Pistons took care of business last night. Even without two of their best players in the game, Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart, and Ron Holland also not there, for personal reasons that we do not know. I really feel like this might be the year. A lot of times in sports, you think, oh, like they're a year away, like they still got to. Happens earlier. It usually happens earlier than you expect, more often than it happens later than you'd expect. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just catch lightning in a bottle, the stars align. I feel like that might be happening for the Pistons this year. I don't really care that there's a weak Eastern Conference. If they can get to the finals, there's no asterisks on it by any means.
Yeah, I mean, I think we think of the Eastern Conference as weaker than the West just because of the top teams in the West that we view as championship contenders. But it's not like the Pistons are 10 games worse than the best team in the West, you know?
They're 1 game out.
Yeah, exactly. They have the same amount of losses. So I don't view this Pistons team as some asterisk team if they go on a run. It's still going to take. There's still going to be tough teams in the East on the way there. People just view it that way because the team that went to the finals last year, star players out, and they're bad. And the team where they lost to in Boston, their best players out. So, that's why people view the East as, wide open this year. And it's because, how often do we see a team just go on this run to the finals after not having any sort of playoff run before? Even Indiana a year ago, they went to the conference finals the year prior before going out. We viewed them as this odd finals team. It feels OKC, they went to the semifinals before they went to the championship. It feels like you have to have some sort of playoff run before you get to the finals. Whereas last year, of course, the Pistons, they made the playoffs, which is great. You have to get that experience. But they didn't go on a playoff run. They lost in the first round. So we don't see this very often. I think that would be the main reason why you would think maybe the Pistons are still a year away. But the opportunity is there, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're right that usually you need to have at least semi-deep run before you get to the finals. But then, okay, then someone's got to beat them, and I guess I just don't really have an answer as to who that would be right now.
Right, yeah,
No one has proven themselves to be able to beat this team 4 times.
Even the team, the Knicks series, I'm here for it, and I'm excited for it. I still think, the Knicks are fully capable of beating the Pistons again in the playoffs. But then every time they play in the regular season,
Jalen Brunson can't even get a shot off, let alone make one.
Exactly. So it's then I'm what's going on? And Cleveland, they're another team that's man, they just haven't been able to figure it out in the playoffs in this new era of Cleveland. And now they've added one of the worst playoff performers of our generation in James Harden. So, I really don't know what's going to happen there. But, yeah, I think the opportunity is there for Detroit. But as far as, what history tells us in the NBA, they're probably a year away. But I don't know. History is always there to be broken. So
we'll get to some Mitt messages here. Adam says 60% of the time it works all the time. I'm not exactly sure what that's referring to. We did get another text. Andrew says, did you see that Tobias Harris turnaround jumper with less than a minute to go put them up by 6? Glad they did not trade him.
I was actually going to bring this up. It does seem like a diss at you, and is it kind of like a valid diss?
Yeah, we actually heard from Trajan Langdon for the first time since the offseason in some private media thing that FanDuel Sports Network aired yesterday, basically talking about the chemistry, that it was our number one priority to not disrupt that in any way, shape, or form, and it was tough to let Ivy go, but we see what this team has in the locker room and how tight they are, and we didn't want to disrupt that by any means. And I think if you're reading between the lines there, we were not trading away Tobias Harris because we thought he was so important to the team. Maybe Trajan was right after last night.
I think last night is the perfect example, and RP just asked this in the YouTube chat as well. Do you think they're right to not make a big move at the deadline? Well, any big move had to involve Tobias Harris, and it's not even just about him hitting the big shot last night, which once again we've continued to discuss. One of the big things about Tobias Harris is he's weirdly clutch. He's hit a ton of clutch shots this season, so that's one thing we got to give him props for. But I think that last night was a perfect example of a don't mess it up trade deadline. Like what we've got going on right now, we don't want to mess it up. And then you watch the game last night and just the bond that these guys have. Kevin Huerter wasn't in there throwing punches, like I'm not saying he had to, but I'm just saying like
Kevin Huerter's like, what did I just walk into?
Am I the right fit here? So
am I expected to? And Duncan's like, no, man.
No.
You don't have.
We're
to
good.
Yeah, that's their job. That's why they're here.
But also, I just think that if you were to make a big trade and add somebody, a Michael Porter Jr., something else, I'm not saying like they're right for not making that trade, but I don't think they're wrong for not doing something big. Just because their core and their chemistry that they have was on full display last night. It's how they went to go get a win against the hottest team in the NBA at their place in a super emotional game.
It's like really tough to do, man. I think we're discrediting how tough it was for them
Yes.
to even claw their way back after the first quarter.
They couldn't make any shots. They were 0 for in the first quarter. They were 0 for 9, and Charlotte was hitting like 9 of 15 threes, and then
yeah, they were 11 for 20, Kyle. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And then obviously, like when you talk about what the Pistons' core is, and the chemistry stuff, yes, it can be a bit cliche sometimes. Like, oh, you don't want to mess up the chemistry, you don't want to mess up the bond that these guys have. I think that is not cliche with this group. Last night was the perfect example of why it's so good for this team, and it leads them to victories. And they didn't want to mess it up at the deadline, and you know what? I'm not going to be mad about it. In the playoffs, maybe I can be mad about it then. But currently, right now, no. I think they made the right decision.
I'm going to keep referring to this the rest of the season, the secret that Isaiah Thomas said in a press conference after they won the title. He talked about the secret to winning basketball games. And we didn't find out what that secret was until years and years later when Bill Simmons came out with his book of basketball book, because he ran into Isaiah Thomas at a topless casino outdoors in Vegas, and he asked him about the secret. And here's what Isaiah Thomas said. He said, the secret is it's not about basketball. It's about the brotherhood. It's about being selfless. It's about dropping the ego and putting the team above everything. I think this Pistons team has embodied that in a way that it is hard to find in the NBA. This isn't college. This isn't high school. This is the pros when everyone is looking out for their next contract, trying to take care of their family, trying to make a generational amount of money so where their kids never have to work again. Can't really blame people for thinking that way. The Pistons have somehow put all that aside while players are getting paid and somehow have put the team above everybody. It's hard to find, man. You don't see that in the NBA very often, and usually the teams that find it win championships. The Pistons may have stumbled into that. 989-837-6125. This right here is the Ben Bosscher Show, live on 100.9 The Mitt. Hey, when the seasons change, Maple Hill Nursery is hard at work for you. They want to work personally with you. They offer professional snow plowing for this time of year to keep your driveways clean, plus spring and fall cleanups for when the snow starts to melt. So your yard looks its best year-round. When things warm up, they've got mowing services for the summer. They're your partners to keep your lawn in tip-top shape, whether it's the spring, the fall, the summer, or the winter. That is Maple Hill Nursery, your all-season lawn and landscape partner right here in Midland.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
Welcome back in. Let's work some football into the mix here. It's 10:30, which means it's time to take a trip around the league.
It's time to zoom out and go around the league.
All right, Kyle, here's what I got for you. I've got the top 10 teams in the power rankings for ESPN, the way too early power rankings. We'll see if the Lions show up, but I want to do, what does this team need to do to win the Super Bowl next season?
Ooh, I like that. Okay.
Number one in the power rankings, goes without saying, the Seattle Seahawks, who, fresh off of a Super Bowl and dominance performance, what do they have to do to win the Super Bowl? I think they got to start paying people.
Do the same thing that they did last year? Ooh, no, I got the right one. I got the right answer. Hire the right offensive coordinator. Like, you just have to, maybe not as big of a home run as Clint Kubiak was, but he's gone. You know, you have to, the defense is going to be great again. Can the offense be good?
Mine is start paying everybody. Hand out the extensions. Kenneth Walker needs a new deal. JSN and Devon Witherspoon both eligible for extensions too. They got to be able to pull off what Brad Holmes has pulled off and just being able to pay all their guys.
What are you talking about, dude? They have Mike McDonald's favorite player, Zach Charbonnet, just ready to take over next year.
I think Kenneth Walker was good enough in the Super Bowl to where you kind of have to repay him now.
Or is it the opposite? Was he the Super Bowl MVP, and now it's like, crap, we actually don't want to pay him because he's going to ask for too much, and someone else is going to overpay him?
I don't think other teams would overreact to the single game, whereas Seattle fans would be like, why would we let him walk?
He was the Super Bowl MVP.
He's more valuable to Seattle than anyone else in my eyes.
No, I agree with that, yeah.
Number two, the New England Patriots. What do they have to do to win the Super Bowl next season?
They put the Patriots at 2?
They did.
Come on, man. Find a new quarterback? Find a new left tackle? Just kidding. I'm just joking. I don't know. I mean, like, maybe find a better weapon for Drake May?
Yeah, that's probably the answer. Find an alpha wide receiver. And maybe find a way to... Maybe is it just like player development?
Yeah, I mean,
Get
I
in
don't
the
think...
lab, Will Campbell. Like, go out to Arizona and train
young.
with these young guys. Yeah. Because Will Campbell, for as great as he was in the regular season, when he came back from injury in the playoffs, he just got wrecked the entire length of the playoffs. Travion Henderson, non-factor most of the playoffs. Their young guys just need to keep developing. And then, to land an alpha wide receiver would probably be the other thing that the Patriots need to do.
Or maybe even just use your
Bowl.
first-round pick on one. Like, maybe just add a young receiver. This kind of receiver by committee thing that they've been doing. It was cool for a while, but obviously...
doing it for years.
Right, exactly.
I mean, they've been doing it since they had Randy Moss.
That's a good point.
Number three, the Los Angeles Rams. What do they need to do to win the Super Bowl next season? A team that I think would have destroyed the Patriots.
I think they would have won the
just
Super Bowl.
as bad.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I would have said is convince Matt Stafford to come back. Okay, done.
Yeah, check.
Is that just it? Like, was that the last thing?
They did have the worst special teams in the NFL this season.
Ooh, that's a good one. Find someone who can return punts that won't drop it. Pretty simple.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep, I like it.
Moving on. I have another one for the Rams. Have Puka Nacua see a therapist.
Did you see a therapist is kind of wild. Did you see him after the Super Bowl?
Yeah, he's just basically laughing at Sam Darnold.
No, like him in the streets.
Oh, I didn't see this.
He was just hammered, bro.
Oh, man.
There's a video of him in the streets just kind of like going crazy. And his brother, the one that stole the car of that dude on the Lakers and the guy that slapped the fan, just kind of a wild card his brother is. It was just both of them just in the streets. So
yeah, I don't love that. I would not like if I saw any Detroit Lion just like publicly hammered.
Man, the turning point of Puka Nacua this year, just like what happened with him, man?
Could you imagine the Lions fans' reaction if J-Mo was just like stumbling around Woodward?
They'd want him traded.
Yeah, it would. Number 4, Denver Broncos. I mean, this one is kind of similar to the Patriots one, right? You got to find some other receiver other than Courtland Sutton to be your guy.
Really? You think so?
I don't have a vendetta against Courtland Sutton, but he's not like some game-changing receiver like Puka is, like JSN is.
He's better than what the Patriots had, though.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I also just think,
is he really that much better than Diggs, though? probably.
But I mean, I don't know.
Not
Denver was the 1 seed, and their quarterback got hurt. You know, like I don't know how much different they need to do.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and say they don't need to do anything to win the Super
Right,
Bowl.
but
I would that seems to be the biggest room for improvement. How about, or this? How about this? Develop a run game.
That's probably the one.
They refuse to run the ball with R.J. Harvey down the stretch of the
Who you
season.
drafted? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, run the ball.
Yeah, I like that.
You have a great offensive line. Run the ball. Find a running back. Number 5, the Buffalo Bills. What do they need to do this offseason?
I mean, a lot of things, and they don't have a lot of room for error as well. They already hired a new coach. Like
Hire Pablo Torre to get rid of Patrick Mahomes once and for all.
Yeah, find some lawsuit that can help Josh Allen get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Get the rule book changed again.
Their
so Josh
defense
Allen
was so bad.
continues
You
to-
could run and pass all over them. They still just run out like the Patriots. These group of receivers that are just like, I mean, their owner comes out and says, "Yeah, we didn't really want to draft Keon Coleman. You know, we don't even really like Keon Coleman. He's on your team right now." Like, what are we talking about here? Brandon Cooks walked in and became your wide receiver 1. Like, there's so many things you could pick for the Bills.
Yeah, I would say wide receiver. Go find a guy. Go find Mike Evans. Why wouldn't Mike Evans want to come?
Probably because the Bills have no money. They're screwed.
How expensive would Mike Evans really be?
They have Allen and Cook taking up all of their cash. It's actually wild.
Yeah, maybe their offseason is just like, hey, figure out the salary stuff.
Just
man.
do something like, yeah, get creative.
Because we see teams do this time and time again. Like, they're up against it, and then they figure it out. And then they pay for it down the road, but they figure, like,
Yeah.
Buffalo's got to figure it out. The 49ers check in at number 6 here. What do they have to do to win the Super Bowl?
Figure out a way to stay kind of healthy.
Yeah, move stadiums, move practice facilities.
Burn the electric facility that's across from your stadium.
Yeah, the electromagnetic field.
Yeah.
Move.
Yeah, just do something.
Relocate.
Yeah, you're not even in San Francisco, you know, like just go there. I don't know.
All right, number 7. The Detroit Lions. This is where they show up. As we discussed yesterday, there's actually a lot more than we maybe initially thought.
What's the one thing though?
It's got to be offensive line still.
But what is that? Like offense? Like in what way? Drafting one, signing one. This
Yes.
filling
Check.
multiple holes.
Check.
Yeah.
All of it. They need a new center. They need a new. They need a new center for sure. They need to bring someone in to at least compete with Christian Mahogany for left guard. I'm all in for replacing Taylor Decker in the first round of the draft, but it kind of seems like that is shifting more towards he's coming back.
And if he is, like, if you don't think there's going to be a tackle you like there at your first round pick, then if you think kicking it down the road to next year is the plan, then fine. If Decker's going to be back next year, but like you said,
you can't take a first round pick and him not contribute. And if Decker's
Right.
coming back, that's exactly what would happen. I'm out on, like, that is such a moronic idea to draft a tackle and have them not play.
right. Filling center is like the most guaranteed thing that will happen, though.
Yeah.
So
enjoy retirement, Glasgow, or being a free agent, or playing on some bad team. Number 8, the Philadelphia Eagles. This one's got to just be find the right offensive coordinator, right?
sure. I mean, I believe they've already hired their offensive coordinator. I think it was a dude from the Packers, but also it's probably just like,
Oh,
You
yeah,
don't-
Sean Mannion.
yeah, you don't have your superpower anymore. The tush push just isn't your thing. So, like, can you just have some sort of functioning offense, which I guess plays with the offensive coordinator thing? But, like, yeah, I mean, they just have to change their identity maybe a little bit. Their defense
that
still
involve
rocks.
trading A.J.
Their
Brown?
defense is awesome. I would say lean into A.J. Brown even more, man. There's a reason why he gets so mad. He's really good. Like, stop doing the tush push so much.
Yeah, they yeah. Pass the. How about this? Be a more traditional offense.
Yeah, Hurts
Stop
can
being
pass the ball
boring.
down the field. Like, he can.
You just can't read a defense.
Right, but, like, he can throw a deep ball. A.J. Brown's an awesome deep ball guy. Like, I don't know. They have a
Air
really
it
good
out.
– they have an awesome receiver duo.
Air it out. That's our thing.
Yeah.
All right, 2 more teams. Number 9, the Jacksonville Jaguars. What do they need to do?
I mean, they kind of figured it out last year, right? Their defense was really good down the stretch. Lawrence turned himself into a really good, like, mobile quarterback, more than we'd ever seen him before. They have an awesome group of wide receivers. I don't really know what their fix is. Is it similar as New England? We're just saying, like, continue to develop? Is it that simple?
You're really banking on Travis Hunter to help, like, be some sort of
Hunter,
spark.
yeah, I guess that's a good one.
He's got to be some sort of spark, whether that's on offense or defense, right?
Yeah, but is he?
I have no
just
idea.
Figure out what Travis Hunter does.
Yes. That's what they have to do this
Yes.
offseason. Figure out how Travis Hunter can help you.
What does he do for you?
That's a good answer. Okay, last one, number 10, the Green Bay Packers. What do they need to do to win a Super Bowl? Fire Matt LaFleur?
Yeah.
Give
tell your
Michael
head
Parsons
coach
new
to stop
ACL?
being a jerk. Yeah, I think that's probably it.
Good. All right, we're done. 989-837-6125 around the league, as always, is presented by our friends over at Aired Insurance Group with the Farm Bureau Agency. They understand not everyone's insurance needs are the same. They want to work personally with you to create something that's best suited for your needs, whether that's life, home, auto, fiscal. It's all available with the Aired Insurance Group with Farm Bureau. The team's got over 100 years of experience. They know exactly how to put you in the best position possible. The experience matters, and that's why the Aired Insurance Group with Farm Bureau Insurance is the way to go. Serving the Tri-Cities with locations in Bay City and Saginaw.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100. Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
So the Pistons picked up a win yesterday against the Hornets. However, they kind of got the short end of a stick. I don't know if you guys saw this. Tigers, Red Wings, both owned by Chris Ilitch. They are leaving FanDuel Sports Network and creating a Ilitch sports and entertainment media broadcast helped by MLB, by Major League Baseball. They're going to help produce this, and the Wings and Pistons are going to be aired on a separate network unrelated to Bally/FanDuel and basically start a new wave. The Pistons are the big losers of this because they're sitting here still affiliated with FanDuel Sports Network, kind of shrugging their shoulders like, what the hell? I'll tell you what, Kyle, I am not paying for one subscription to watch the Pistons and one to watch the Tigers and the Wings. They need to, like Tom Gores, Chris Ilitch, need to figure something out to where they're all together. Because as a consumer, that's the only perspective I bring to this. As a consumer, that is ridiculous that those three teams are not all together in the same broadcast network. Because right now, the Pistons are not a part of this Chris Ilitch sports and entertainment deal. I really hope they are because I'm not paying for two different ones.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that this is kind of just like they're announcing the Tigers and Red Wings first because Chris Ilitch owns both of them, and this is his entertainment network. You know, you would kind of lean that way, and then once it was just kind of the introduction of it, and hopefully they'll add the Pistons to this. But yeah, man, this blows. Like, it's that simple. This sucks, and this is just kind of how 2026 is as a sports fan. You know, you don't know what games on what network on a given night. You don't know what streaming service has this and that. It's why the NFL will continue to top every other sport because you don't have to pay to watch the NFL. You can watch, if you have a satellite dish in your backyard, you can watch the Lions every Sunday on Fox. Like, so that's the part that is just annoying about all of this. And whether or not we, liked FanDuel Sports Network or not, I believe it had a ton of its own issues and it was pretty expensive. You could watch all three teams on it.
Yes.
That was at least it had that.
Might not have audio, but it will have the game.
Yeah. You try to pause the games and then switch to music in the middle of your lift and then go back to the game. It will send you to the start of the broadcast every single time. That's sick. But at least it had all three teams on it, and that's why I paid for it. And so now it's going to be, like you said, I will be very frustrated if it has to be a paying for three different things type of subscription because right now it's at least it has that going for it.
Well, Tom Gores, this wouldn't be the first time Gores and Ilitch work together, like when the arena opens.
Yeah, exactly.
They somehow managed to figure something out to where they could split the arena. They need to lock themselves in a room and figure out what to do here because I'm sure Gores doesn't want I'm sure Ilitch doesn't want to split the revenue of what they're going to make on this, what they're going to profit on people buying their network. Why would Ilitch want to pay some of that towards, give some of that cut for Tom Gores? He doesn't really have a reason to.
This is just all around a bad deal. It's a bad deal for everybody involved because you already had the switch from Bally to FanDuel Sports Network, which technically wasn't a switch. It was just a naming rights switch. Now this is going to be a completely different production company. So everyone who is employed, currently with the FanDuel Sports Network and what was formerly Bally Sports, now all of those people are wondering, am I going to be involved in this? Like you said, we don't know what the Pistons are going to be on. We don't even know what channel this is going to be on. There is already teams that do this through the MLB. That's already kind of a thing. So at least it's something that is established. But the fact that it's being partnered with the Ilitch stuff definitely raises question marks. It just all around sucks for everybody involved, for the consumer, for people that work in the company, for the teams themselves. This is just not a fun thing.
Yeah, that's number one thing in the news. Here is the rest of the news. Kyle Sandel, take it away. It is the Mitt Morning Catch.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
All right, let's get into the news. Caught me off guard there.
I know, I sprung that on you.
Yeah, I know. Keep me on my toes here. All right, let's get into the news. First off, we obviously were talking about that deal with the Tigers and everything. Last night, though, we had that big college basketball game. Kansas versus Arizona. Oh, boy. Kansas knocks off number 1 Arizona, so Michigan, who is sitting there at number 2, is going to have a pretty good opportunity to launch themselves into number one if they can win their games this week. No Darren Peterson in this game for Kansas either. It didn't matter. The Jayhawks win it. So Arizona, we talked about their really tough schedule to end the season. It's starting here with a loss with Kansas.
So Michigan plays Northwestern and UCLA this week. They should be 20-point favorites over both of those teams. I would say odds are on Monday they are number one team in the country unless they already think they're number one and they let their guard down and somehow one of these teams upset of the year, which I don't think will happen because I think even when Michigan's at their worst, their defense is so good that most teams just can't really keep up.
This is the primetime slot, though, like for a team to get upset. It always is, like when you have number one waiting for you, basically, and the fact that you have two games, like obviously Michigan is much better than both of their opponents that they're about to play. UCLA's been playing pretty good, but still, yeah, these are still going to be
trap games.
They're very big trap games. So Michigan's just got to take care of business. They'll be number one. They are number one in KenPom right now, so they've taken that title back. I guess they did have that title back.
Number one in net ranking too.
Yeah, so that's what that is. So yeah.
Yeah.
I had something else I was going to say about that, but I can't remember. Okay, anyways, we'll move. Oh yeah, I remember what I was going to say. They should just rank Miami, Ohio as number one now, right? They're the lone undefeated team left. I mean, that's how that works.
Don't they keep barely squeaking by MAC teams though?
Correct. They've gone to overtime like 3 or 4 times, so they're due to lose.
They're getting their best shot from everybody.
Yes, they are. Speaking of the AP poll, Michigan State, they stuck at number 10 despite getting upset by Minnesota last week. The win against Illinois did not move them at all, so the Spartans are still in the top 10, and they don't play again till this weekend. So they got the week off during the week this week.
Yeah.
They play Friday night, Wisconsin at Wisconsin.
On the road, yeah. That's where Michigan lost. Michigan lost at home. To them.
Michigan lost at home, but it's still Michigan's lone loss of the season. Okay, more stuff going on in the news. Raiders did officially name Clint Kubiak as their new head coach. Did you ever see his little post-game interview that he did after the Super Bowl? It was like super awkward because I don't think he knew if it was like officially he was announced as the Raiders head coach. He must just not be that tapped into like ESPN and all this stuff because they were asking him about it. And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm going like Raiders. Like I'm celebrating, but I'm going to the Raiders. I'm gonna do it." Like it was super awkward. But anyways, yes, he's officially announced as the Raiders head coach.
I'm very intrigued by this situation of Mendoza and Bowers and Genty and now Clint Kubiak there as well. We'll see what happens with Crosby. This is one of those teams that could, I think, surprise a lot of people next year just because of the foundation that they have. Now they bring in the right coach. Who knows what's going to happen? I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. We'll go back to a couple college basketball things. First off, Purdue, Nebraska tonight at 7. Big-time college basketball game in the Big Ten. This matters a lot for the Spartans as well because this can allow them to kind of have one of those teams that are tied with 2 losses drop out right now. So
loss here for Purdue basically knocks them out of contention to win the Big Ten title, right?
Yes, it essentially does. I mean, it would be pretty crazy. They would need a lot of things to happen, yeah. Because right now you've got, of course, Michigan as the top team by themselves right now, and then there's just a big tie. Illinois, Nebraska with 2 losses. Michigan State has 3. They're right behind those teams, so would be pretty big. And Purdue has 3 losses. The other big college basketball news is, of course, we've been following all these guys that were pros turned college basketball athletes. Well, Charles Bediako, who played for the Motor City Cruise this season, who's been playing for Alabama for the last 3 weeks, he is done. He's no longer eligible to play for Alabama. He was on that temporary restraining order that was allowing him to play. Well, the new judge, not the Alabama donor, who was the judge of this court case for a while,
right?
The new judge stepped in and is no longer allowing Bediako to play. So
rejoice.
1 win for the NCAA.
1 win for the good guys.
It only took like 100 losses, but 1 win. We're still waiting on Amari Bailey, who's trying to return to college basketball after, playing games in the NBA. So
yeah, that's insane. Rejoice. College basketball, maybe not the worst sport in the history of mankind.
It's still pretty close. One more thing in college basketball. Not as big of news, but I had to throw this in here for John. Rick Pitino passes Roy Williams for 3rd all-time in wins, and he did it against his son as well. So both of the milestones he's gotten this year have been against his son both times. That's kind of cool.
Let's do a quick medal count here. Norway, 11 medals. Switzerland, hold on, I didn't sort this right. Gosh darn it. Okay, I'm going to try this again. You ready?
Do you want me to say something while you look at that or no?
Nope.
Okay.
Wait, did you have more? I thought you were done.
No, I got a couple things.
Well,
more.
go ahead.
I just said last thing in college basketball. Former Tiger Nick Castellanos, the Phillies are looking to move off of him. Apparently there was a dispute going on with the staff and Nick Castellanos, and they don't want him on the team anymore. So could that be a bat that the Tigers trade for? Ben?
I wouldn't hate that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate that at all.
Okay, medal count.
Norway 11, Italy 11, Japan 7, Switzerland 5, Austria 5, United States 5, Sweden 5, Germany 5. In terms of the gold medals, well, Norway's got 6, and that leads everybody. Switzerland 3, and a whole bunch of teams, including the United States, tied for 2.
Come on, man. U.S. got to step up. Speaking of U.S. Olympics, we got Lindsey Vohn's updated new injury. Of course, the ruptured ACL was already public, but a complex tibia fracture that needs multiple surgeries is what happened after the really tough wreck that she had this past weekend. So,
That's tough.
yeah, tough news for Lindsey Vonn.
All right, that's going to do it for the news. Here's what we got coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. We'll pivot back to those Detroit Pistons who had a big-time brawl last night. And then we're going to have Chris Castellani on to talk about the Tigers. Spring training starts tomorrow for pitchers and catchers. So we'll get his thoughts on all of our questions that we had for the Tigers this upcoming season as well. 989-837-6125. The Ben Bosscher Show is live right now on YouTube, Facebook, and 100.9 The Mitt. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already on the YouTube side of things. We'll step away for about 2 minutes. Come right back for the 11 o'clock hour.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
From the Blazy Electric Studios, This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
Welcome back in, everybody. Detroit Pistons. Their title chances feel as high as they ever have been. Their chances to come out of the Eastern Conference feel as high as they ever have been. The unfortunate part is, by the time tomorrow's game rolls around, do we really think Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren, the dog pound, are going to be available for the Pistons to play? Answer seems like it's going to be no, unfortunately, after last night. 4 different players ejected. Miles Bridges, former Spartan, one of them. Moussa Diabate, former Wolverine, another. Man, I hated that guy when he was on Michigan. He couldn't catch a basketball, which is a crucial part of playing basketball, being able to catch it. Miles Bridges, obviously, has had some run-ins with the law in the past. Those guys absolutely freak out on Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren, in my eyes, did nothing wrong. Now, I know some people would beg to differ here, but Moussa Diabate, okay, first of all, guys just walk up to each other all the time. Hey, man, relax. Hard foul. Hard foul on Moussa Diabate on Duren. So Duren kind of walks up to him. Diabate is the one that pushes his head right into him, headbutts him, and then when Jalen Duren basically puts his hand in Diabate's face, get the hell out of my face, man. You're a nobody. You have 0 points. Move on. Get out of my face. What are you doing? That is when Diabate and Miles Bridges completely lose their mind. I really don't think it's just like a out of nowhere thing with those two guys. I think they were used to beating everyone. They were on the longest win streak in the NBA, and the Pistons showed up and just bullied them physically. And that really gets under team skin, especially a team like Charlotte, who's not a physical team. They're the opposite of that. They want to take a ton of threes, space the floor, collapse threes, as many of them as possible. 4th most attempted threes per game in the NBA, Charlotte does. That's the style they play. And they don't really have an enforcer or a tough guy on their team. So when the Pistons show up to town and just start taking it to them down low and bullying them on the glass, it leads to a lot of frustration that gets built up to where it's like, man, we're making our threes and this team is still just kind of not doing anything dirty, but like we are worn down physically. And I think when Duren said, get out of my face, and pushed him away, it just was the last drop that made everything overflow for Diabate and Miles Bridges, who start swinging at Duren, need to be held back. They're throwing guys out of the way so they can try to get to Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren backs away, and as Diabate approaches him, like for the 4th time after he runs through a bunch of dudes, like Duren does square up, so that's probably a suspension, but he's backing away, basically saying, you don't want this. I promise you don't want this. So Duren's like halfway on the opposite corner of the court is where the Pistons bench is where this all takes place. So the opposite side of the court, Duren's halfway back to the bench when Miles Bridges comes out of nowhere and just, boom, sucker punches him. That's when Duren swings on Bridges. I don't really know what Duren did wrong in this situation. He tried to remove himself. When he got a punch thrown at him is when he squared up and threw one back. And then Stu, that's when he comes off the bench and, my God, it's Isaiah Stewart, in WWE fashion, just comes out of nowhere. I don't think Duren did anything wrong. I assume he'll get a suspension. I think that's screwed up. He was being attacked. Stu will most definitely get one. I don't expect either of them to be there tomorrow against the Raptors, which is a semi-important game. I guess every game is important the rest of the way if you're trying to claim first place in the Eastern Conference. But Raptors, frisky team, young, have some size, have some length defensively. So to not have either of your big guys, yeah, it's going to be problematic. And if the suspension for Stu is anything more than 3 games, that's going to really suck for the Pistons.
Yeah,
but I don't blame him for leaving the bench because he stayed on there for as long. He stayed off the bench. He stayed on the bench for 99% of the altercation. And then when Miles Bridges relocated Jalen Duren and threw a punch, that's when he wouldn't stand for it. And I'm fine with it. Go get him. Protect your guys. Protect your brother, as JB Bickerstaff said.
Yeah, I mean, we got to remember who we're dealing with here. You know, you're dealing with Miles Bridges, who's a convicted domestic abuser, and then you're dealing with Moussa Diabate, who his lone year of college basketball is coached by Juwan Howard, who punched Greg Gard in the face after one of their games. You know, like we're talking about fake tough guys here. I mean, those are the definition of fake tough guys right there. So I also do think, though, like, I know that we don't want to say the Pistons didn't start it. I agree they didn't start it. But Duren threw the first, he put his hand in Diabate's face. Like, that's why he freaked out. You know, like he did that.
Diabate's face should not have been in Duren's, in my eyes.
Sure, I agree. But I'm just saying, he did the first hand-to-face action. That's fair, right?
That's approach. That he stood on the line. Charlotte ran past it, in my eyes.
Yes, sure, I agree. But yeah, I mean, and Bridges is the part that definitely just like it should have been split up. Stu should have never been involved because Bridges should have never went after Duren. You know, like that. It's that simple. And so I'm here for the Pistons embracing it. JB Bickerstaff talked about it, and it feels like all the Pistons fans are here for it too. Like, this is what the Pistons are. You're not going to mess with them, and if you do, you're going to have one of the scariest guys in the league coming after you, and Isaiah Stewart.
Yeah.
Like, it's that simple, and I think it's great. I think it's just kind of embodies how they play basketball. It's clear that their core and bond is at an all-time high and maybe one of the best in the entire NBA. And obviously, it sparked them once again to pick up a win in a game that they just straight up didn't play very good in. Mm-hmm. Cade Cunningham, like we talked about this pre-show. That's almost the worst part about this whole altercation that goes down. It takes away from just an awesome Cade game, especially in the second half. Like, he was so good in the fourth quarter down the stretch. So he was great once again, especially against a Con Knipple guy on the Hornets that is just, man,
unreal rookie.
He's crazy, man. I mean, every time he shoots the basketball, it feels like it's going in. It feels like he goes 4 of 9 or 4 of 10 from 3 every game. Like, he's so consistent in knocking down his shots, and he was one of the main reasons they were in it. The LaMelo Ball stuff made this so much more fun. Like, this feels like a true, real rivalry here.
And now they've got that with 2 different teams in the East. Maybe another one to come with the Celtics or the Raptors, whoever they end up playing. Yeah, I think there's a portion of the Pistons fans that are upset with Isaiah Stewart for coming off the bench and that he's going to control himself. This is going to hurt the team.
Yeah, it is going to hurt the team, but, like, he's Isaiah Stewart. Like,
this is what he does.
This is what he does. It's like the same.
Do you want Rodman to chill out in the 90s? No.
This
is what he does.
It's the same fans that are Lions fans that are like, why are we going for it on 4th down?
That's a great
Stop
comparison.
being surprised by it. You know, it just is what happens. Isaiah Stewart will fight you if you try to fight one of his friends.
One of his brothers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's what JB Bickerstaff said after game. Like, do you really expect him to sit on the bench? These guys are brothers.
Jalen Duren said, yeah, I'm drafted to Detroit, and that's one of my guys. What, am I supposed to just sit here and watch it?
No, go get him. It's a fear factor that other teams have to play with, is if we even dare stand up to this team, they've got a psychopath on their team that will come try to fight me if it comes down to it. That is a fear factor that is put into play from other teams when they step on the floor with the Detroit Pistons. It's a mental edge over the team. I'm okay with what happened last night. I have no issues with Isaiah Stewart running off the bench, WWE style, and coming in and saving the day. No issues with it. What Miles Bridges did was ridiculous. Insanity. The fight was over. It had been de-escalated. And he refound Jalen Duren and just straight up threw a punch. You don't see that in the NBA. So the Pistons, yeah, they're going to be. At some point, you got to look yourself in the mirror and be like, well, common denominator here is the Pistons are always involved in this. That's fine. They're not the ones that crossed the line last night. They're not the ones that started this. They got under the other team's skin because that's what they do, because they bully people physically, and that leads to a lot of frustration from teams like the Hornets. But I don't think they actually crossed the line last night, whereas everyone's going to come out of today thinking, or come out of last night thinking, oh, the Pistons are this tough team. That's fine. I want people to think that. I want people to be scared of this team. Embrace it. Embrace being the villain. Bad boys are back.
You know what I wish I would have done last night is I had a short segment of this game where I popped on the Mitt to listen to the radio call because I see RP in our YouTube chat talking about Rick Mahorn. Rick Mahorn does the radio calls for the Pistons games. Like, I would have loved to hear his reaction to all of this, man. I would have really loved to hear
his
all
headset
that.
off. I'll be right back.
I'm coming, Stu.
That would have been awesome. Yeah, I think they've completely embodied the Bad Boys thing. It's really fun when a franchise can, like, reclaim an identity from the past with a completely new group 30 years, 40 years later. You know? Like, that doesn't happen very often. Usually when you rise back to being at the top, like, you have a different identity. And the Pistons, every time that they've been at the top, have embraced the same mentality of like, no, we're the toughest MFers on the planet. And that is certainly true of this team right now. I texted you this yesterday as it happened. We're the baddest team on the planet. Are they better at playing basketball or being badasses? I don't think we can answer this question. It's too
I think
tough.
they're better at being badasses because they're so good at it. Like,
then again, they're in first place.
they're undefeated at being badass, man.
Yeah. No, you make a good point there. The lucky part for us is not only are they badasses, but they're the best team in the Eastern Conference, and they're still in that honeymoon phase where they can't really do anything wrong right now. They really can't. Even Isaiah Stewart getting himself into trouble. The majority of Pistons fans, I think, loved it. And they should. You know, it puts a fear into the other team. It's a real factor that other teams have to think about. It's a game plan that other teams have to... Like, remember when the Warriors were good? Teams would have to, like, have meetings about, like, hey, man, do not let Draymond get into your head. Don't let it happen. Now teams have to have meetings that's like, don't even look at Isaiah Stewart wrong. That from the jump, you're winning the mental edge over your opponent.
And the craziest part about that is these guys are young, man. Like, don't let Ron Holland start anything is going to be what these other teams are talking about. The kid's 20. Jalen Duren's 22, man.
Ron Holland's 20? Oh, my God.
You know what I'm saying? Like, these are young. It's not like these are vets that are like, don't let them use their veteran, tactics to get in your head. These guys
20.
are kids, bro.
Younger than you and I.
It's crazy.
God, if Ron Holland was there last night, we might be talking about like the
biggest fight in NBA history.
Yeah, Malice Part 2. Oh, man. 989-837-6125. 11 o'clock hour, as always, is brought to you by our friends over at Yiter Insurance. Life happens fast, and at Yiter, they're here to make sure you're covered every step of the way. Locally owned and trusted in Midland for decades, they treat you like family, not just another policy number. From home and auto to business and life insurance, Yiter is the right coverage for every stage of life. Their team makes insurance simple with expert advice and real people that you can actually talk to. That's Yiter Insurance Group. We'll be there when you need us since 1940.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. on 100.9 The Mid.
Honey joining us now on the Ben Bosscher Show. Spring training pitchers and catchers report tomorrow. I know there's nobody more fired up than Chris. That's why we're having him on. Chris, I've got 5 looming questions for you regarding spring training. You want to jump right into it? Hello? We all good here? I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me, Chris? No? All right. Well, it seems like we may have some technical difficulties here. I'm not sure if Chris can hear us. All right. Well, we'll keep things rolling. Hopefully Chris can figure it out on that end of things. So the first question I have is whether or not Zach McKinstry, Javi Baez, Cole Keith is going to be the everyday third baseman with this team. I don't know who is going to be playing third base, but I will tell you, I really hope that it's just simply Colt Keith every single day. I don't really want a rotation of guys. I don't really want a rotation of guys playing third base for the Tigers this season. I really don't. I want Colt Keith to be that person every single day so he can continue to develop, because he is, to me, one of the biggest reasons that the Tigers could take that step forward this upcoming season. Okay? The Tigers, if they're going to continue to be a better offense, I think Colt Keith needs to be a big part of that, Kyle. All right, we're going to try this one more time. Chris Castellani, can you hear me now?
Yep, loud and clear, guys. Thank you. Sorry about that.
No. That's, you don't have
Sorry
to
about
apologize.
that, Chris. We got a new studio here, so it could be something to deal with that.
Yeah, brand new
Okay,
setup
cool.
here we got going on. Also, within the next week or so, next time we have you on, we can do it through the phone. It'll be a heck of a lot easier. So, new renovations to our studio up here. So, sorry about that one more time.
No problem.
So, what I was saying was the number one question I have for the Tigers this spring training is what's going on at third base. And this has been a question that the Tigers have had for a couple of years now. And it's always been, what about Alex Bregman? But now they're in a situation where Colt Keith exists, Zach McKinstry exists, Javier Baez exists. I don't want it to be a revolving door, though. I want Colt Keith to be the guy to be playing third base every day, whether there's a righty or a lefty on the mound. I just feel like he needs the reps. He needs to be locked into one position. I think defensively rotating him around the last couple of seasons and being like, you're our second baseman. Now you're our first baseman. Now you're our third baseman. I think that's hindered his ability is probably not the best words to use, but it certainly hasn't excelled it because now he's trying to learn different positions defensively while he's trying to also balance taking that step forward offensively, which in my eyes is one of the biggest X factors for the Tigers this upcoming season.
Yes, I would agree. I mean, I just got to be real with you. Outside of, Javi could do it, but I'll just be real. I don't think there's a natural third baseman on this roster right now. And I think that this is the second or third year in a row that we've had to deal with this. Now, the expectation, and I think this is what the organization hopes for, is that Colt Keith offensively takes the step that we want him to take and that he's shown flashes of in his first 2 seasons. If that happens, the defense doesn't become irrelevant, but it becomes less of a problem. It's the old adage, you'll hit your way into a lineup, they'll find a spot for you. I've been saying, really going back, and I'm glad you mentioned it, going back to the middle of last season, I think the worst case scenario for Colt Keith is that he finds himself in another situation where he's bouncing around between third to second to first base. Some guys like Z-Mac and Javi are made for that. They have the athleticism to do it. I don't think that's Colt's MO. I think he's a hitter. I think that he wants to just play one single position. I think last year things got very wonky with him starting at first, and then Torque gets crazy hot in the spring, and you move him to second. He struggles there. It's the biggest mystery box just because, Colt Keith hasn't played a whole lot of third base. So if I had to guess, I would say he will probably be – I don't think he'll be a disaster, but I think he'll be, relatively average to below average. But the bat is ultimately what matters. is an AJ likes to have versatility on the roster, which guys like Hobby and Z-Mac provide. And look, I have no problem with you want to give him the occasional day off. You could DH him, even play him at first if you want. But I think generally speaking, I believe that the focus for Colt Keith defensively this offseason has been at third base. And I think that if there's any sort of shift in that department, I think it would be a problem for him.
Yeah, I think we're aligned there. And my other thing with that is, I hinted at this already. He to me is the biggest, I know Kevin McGonigal is going to be the answer that's thrown around a lot in terms of how does this offense take that step forward, because they didn't really add any bats externally. To me, it's hey, Colt Keith is now a 20 home run guy. That's just the biggest, the easiest route to me for the Tigers becoming one of these borderline top 10 offenses.
Yeah, I would agree completely. And that's the thing with this offense is they are still, for the most part, very young. So it's hard to assess certain metrics and where they're going to end up, because there's certain lineups, and I know this is kind of unfair to use, but you look at the Dodgers and you talk about a million guys that are in their prime and have done this 5, 6, 7 years in a row. Now it's Colt has not had, by definition, the breakout season. I would say Dingler is another guy that's looking up potentially. What do you get from Parker? It's I don't think it's necessarily, we have this focus, and based on the way last season ended, that this is a bad offense. It's not. It was an offense that by definition was in the top half in baseball a year ago, but there's just a lot of variance. And I think the even bigger concern is and this happens with a lot of young players, there's a lot of swing and miss. And I think the biggest component of this is we focus on Riley Green, but I think it's top to bottom. Can they limit the strikeouts, and can they cause more damage when there are runners in scoring position? It's a lot of young players, so it's a question mark, but we're just going to have to find out.
Which is why I think it was important that they brought back Glaber, because he was one of the guys that, at least through the first half and mostly through the second half, I know he dealt with some injuries, was able to give the Tigers pretty good ABs consistently, which helps everyone behind him in the lineup. All right, so the second question I have in regards to what does spring training look like, if I'm doing my biggest questions heading in, is Kevin McGonigal seriously just going to skip AAA? Because that kind of seems like what's going to happen right now. At least, there's not really any evidence of that, but it just seems like it'd be such a disappointment if he wasn't on the roster opening day.
It's so tough because I think he's one of those guys where performance in spring genuinely matters.
Yes.
I think that if he hits 100 in spring, we could count on him being in AAA. I honestly don't know. The one thing I would confirm is that I think sometimes organizations, and the stupid service time manipulation had to do with this in the past, have their minds made up before spring training. I think that this is an open competition. I think they're going to give him the opportunity to make the team out of camp. I get the impression, and AJ's alluded to this, sort of subtly, there are still concerns with him playing a premium defensive position at shortstop, which I understand. And look, a guy gets called up to play short, struggles a little bit early. You probably got to move him around the diamond a little bit quicker than you expected. But, this is the thing I've said going back to last season. Now, if they're going about this fairly and they're just going to give it to the guy who's best suited to be in the lineup every day, Kevin McGonigal has to beat out a version of Javi Baez, who last year played center field for a good chunk of time, and Trey Sweeney. And no disrespect, but let's be real here. We're talking about arguably the most ineffective hitter in baseball, relative to the at bats that he got a year ago. I think if they are serious about competing, which given the way that the last few weeks have transpired, it seems like they are, I think you're going to have a hard time, assuming he performs in spring, not justifying putting him on the opening day roster. It's very similar, and I know he got injured, but it's very similar to Jackson Jobe a year ago, where it's just the ceiling is so high, and Jobe had to beat out Maeda. I think it's almost a similar situation here, where it's comparing the two, I think they'll be more willing to go with the upside, but I'm genuinely not sure.
So you bring up a good point the last couple of weeks, which I guess it's been a second since you and I have caught up, because I was so focused on the spring training stuff that we haven't had a chance to talk about the Valdez signing and the Scuffle arbitration, which I had a roller coaster of a couple of days. I'm sure you did too, where the Scuffle arbitration stuff is going down and we're waiting for an announcement as to who's going to win. And I don't know about you, but I never thought the Tigers had a chance of winning, just the way everything was laid out. And then in between the hearing and the announcement, it's here's Framber Valdez. And it's like that came out of literally nowhere. I have a panic attack. I'm like, oh my God, they're trading Scuffle. Like this is the replacement for Scuffle. And it seems like they are just going to run this thing with the two of them and go all in on this season, which I don't exactly know your thoughts on this. Even before the Valdez thing, were you a component of like, hey, we're not paying him, so let's just like go all in this year? Or were you, hey, we're not paying him, let's trade him and capitalize on this? Regardless of the way you feel about that, it's a pretty good succession plan to Derek Scuffle. In my eyes, it has become blatantly obvious, though, that they are not going to be paying him.
100% correct. Just to add to a few points there.
Sure.
Frommer is still, I think, viewed as the quote unquote, and how can you replace this, but replacement for Scuffle. And I think that's what makes this signing really effective, is that you not only, create this window for 1 year where you can go all in with probably the best 1-2 punch in the American League, but you also looking ahead and you say, okay, Scuffle's probably going to leave, but you're going to have Frommer here for a few years. Melton continues to get better. Job continues to get better. Reese hopefully stays healthy. All of a sudden, you're still looking at a really good rotation. What has been fascinating to me, and the thing that I'm kind of wrestling with, is it felt like for 90% of this offseason that the Tigers were going with option number 3, which was not going all in, but also not trading Scuffle. And my curiosity is whether or not this was all part of Harris's master plan from the beginning and we were just overreacting, or if in the last several weeks there was some sort of change, because there was no connection between them and Frommer until like 2 or 3 days before. There was a little smoke the weekend before we signed him, but even then it was very little. And then
I don't think it was a coincidence that it happened like the 24 hours that Scuffle arbitration was winning all the headlines.
No.
Like that seemed intentional.
I think you're right. And that's what makes me wonder is, okay, that's a really cool thing. Like, I think that it shows that there's, competitiveness here. There's a willingness to spend. The curiosity I'll have going forward is like, we went from a mid-tier payroll, and I'm being generous, to top 10 in baseball in literally 24 hours. Is this something that we can come to expect in the future? Or is this just some weird anomaly where you're kind of forced to pay Scuffle in arbitration, and then you went out and got your free agent pitcher? I honestly don't know. But look, the one thing I'll say, and we can talk about the offense, and we have, you have made a commitment this year that is well beyond any commitment that you've made since Chris Ilitch became the owner here. So at the very least, it's a reason for hope, not just for this season, but also that when the day, inevitably comes that Scuffle gets 400 plus from another team, that we can look at this organization and say, okay, they're going to be willing to allocate those funds elsewhere to continue to build and retain a competitive product.
Were you always let's just let Scuffle walk and be all in on this season and keep him around and try to gun for this thing one more time? Or were you in the camp of like, hey man, if he's not going to be here, we got to capitalize in some way and trade him?
No, I wanted him to still be here for this season. And I just think it's tough because we're a little bit scarred by the past, but I just think trading him, unless you're going to get back 3 or 4 guys that are major league caliber players and major league caliber stars, which I don't think you're going to get. It's basically an admittance of defeat. It's you saying, okay, we're not going to do anything this year with the last year of the best pitcher in baseball. I think it's a really bad message to send to the fans. They've honestly, with the Valdez signing, have ended up doing more than I expected them to with this last year of Tarek, which is really nice to see. They've loaded up on their pitching, which I think can be, is going to be elite this season. So I was never really in the camp of wanting him to be traded. There was a period of time where I thought that he would be, but I'm generally pleased with the way that things have gone up to this point. I think you can run it back with Tarek and still have a really good competitive window here.
Yeah, I like I told you, I had like a 24-hour panic attack after they signed Valdez of like, oh man, this is actually happening. But now it does seem like they're going to run it this season. And if he takes the mound opening day, like I don't think there's any chance he gets traded. If he walks out there in a Tigers uniform, there's no way they're trading him midseason. If they do, they're burning a bridge with their fans for a very long time. And as much as I hate to admit it, because obviously we'd all just want to pay Scuffle if we could, it's a pretty good succession plan. It really is.
Very.
Okay, so more spring training questions. I asked about third base, asked about McGonigal. Here would be my next one. Hey, Riley Green, what did we do this offseason to help fix that swing and miss? Is this going to be a continued approach at the plate of home run or bust? Or did you kind of go into the lab this offseason as this is something to potentially, like this was your focus this offseason? I want to know what his approach is going into spring.
I think, and this is my prediction, Riley is a pretty, quiet guy. I'm sure there will be some questions asked about it in spring training that he'll be willing to answer. My guess is we will see the swing and miss diminished a little bit. But I think anybody hoping for some massive shift in the way he plays or, some of the swing decisions, I just don't really see that. I think he's been kind of open about that. I think there's even an understandable fear of sacrificing his power, sacrificing his production, because look, you look at the raw numbers, you see 36 home runs, 100 plus RBIs. There's not a lot of guys that would look at that as a failure or something that needs, a massive change. And one thing that I will give him some slack for is the fact that, look, the guy got called up at a very young age. He's still in his mid-20s. And, he adjusted to the league, and then sometimes the league punches back. And he got a heavy amount of breaking balls, and there was a fair amount of swing and miss. I mean, it's crazy to say now, but in his third year, Mike Trout led the American League in strikeouts, and then immediately became a guy that was, and he won the MVP. I'm not comparing the players, but it's just he was still young into his career. And then after that became a very high on base, still, the occasional swing and miss, but generally speaking, one of the most feared hitters in baseball. So I think that there's a chance we see it diminished. It's more so, and it's something I went back to earlier last season. There's a lot of really effective players in baseball that are going to swing and miss a fair amount. I think the concern a year ago was that if you're going to strike out 150 to 200 times, I need a gaudy on-base percentage. I need you drawing a lot of walks. I need you swinging at the right pitches. I think that was the biggest concern, is the swing decisions. It's chasing out of the zone, missing breaking balls. They go to a lefty out of the bullpen. He immediately gets 3 sliders that he's swinging at. I think that's going to be the biggest concern, and the adjustment that he has to make is simply his swing decisions, because the power is there, the ability is there. So I don't expect a drastic shift from Riley Green in that department. I do think that water finds its level a little bit. I don't think he will lead the league in strikeouts again this year, which, high bar. But still, I think that there will be some improvement, but probably not a ton of noticeable improvement in that department.
I'm with you. Like, if he's going to swing and miss a ton, that's fine, as long as the discipline and the plate approach is significantly improved. Because, he couldn't help himself last year, laying off some of the pitches, like you said, the sliders on the outside. Another thought I had during the whole Valdez signing was, someone's the odd man out here. And then there was that piece that somebody, I think it was Petzold, had like a little insight of Reese Olson, don't really know if he's healthy. And now that's kind of my question going into spring training. Wait, what's going on with Reese Olson? Because that was a guy that hey, if the Tigers make the World Series, he could return, was the theoretical thing that was going on last year. And now it's somebody's going to be the odd man out between Melton and Olson and Valdez and Skubal and Flaherty and Mize. And then Joe maybe in the second half of the season. What's going on? Is Reese Olson healthy?
Yeah, I think one thing that we talked about quite a bit last season was the idea of that the organization got a little bit too high on the belief that they could take anybody, give him to Chris Fetter, and turn him into a legitimate pitcher. I think that the focus this offseason of really adding pitching depth has been very important, because injuries, this is not specific to the Tigers, but injuries are just inevitable in this game. Look, I like Reese. We all like Reese. I think the guy's a really good pitcher, but the best ability is availability. His career high in starts is 22. The last 2 seasons, I think it's 17 and 15. That's just not, you're basically banking on half a season from the guy. And look, he's still young. No reason to give up on him. But I think that the Valdez signing, as well as Troy Melton's still available, Cater Montero's still available, Jaden Ham coming up through the system. At some point in the season, you're going to get Jackson Jobe back. I think those are major positives in terms of your depth, because I don't know how reliable Reese is at this point, just to continue to march forward. So it's a question mark, but I also think that the organization's done a tremendous job of building up their pitching depth to a point where you can allow Reese to hopefully get healthy while not, punting every fifth day, because I think Melton's a legit pitcher.
So this is something that I think you and I have talked about every time we've talked this offseason. This has come up, and it's continued to not be something that's been answered. Who's going to be out there starting center fielder opening day? Is it going to be Parker Meadows? Is it going to be Javi Baez? Is it going to be Wencel Perez? It feels like if they're going to have, if Colt Keith is going to be the everyday third baseman, we know AJ Hinch is not going to, across the board, all 9 spots, have an everyday starter. Center field kind of seems like the one position right now where it's like, we're just going to figure it out on a day-to-day basis.
Well, I think and I remember making this comp at the end of last season. Parker Meadows finds himself in the same spot Spencer Torkelson was in last year, which is, look, man, ideal world, this is your spot, man. But you got to hit your way into it. You can't, last year it was a little different because they legitimately gave Colt Keith the job at first base and then Torque had to earn it. But this is one of those instances where, and I pointed it out on Twitter yesterday, I'm going to continue with it. Parker, if all's right in the world, Parker is not just your center fielder, but he's probably hitting leadoff every game against right-handed pitching. And we've seen it in spurts. They don't go on their run in 24 without his contributions. That's undeniable. But I would say when you look at the Parker Meadows at-bats in his career, there's been 80%, failure and a lot of weak contact and a lot of not great at-bats. So that's the other position that I think spring training will determine a lot. I think it is very important that, 1, Parker has a healthy spring training, and 2, Parker has a productive spring training. But then beyond that, yeah, if that fails, then we are looking at that revolving door of Javi and Wencel, and a guy that nobody's talking about right now, but was a key part of this team a few years ago. Matt Vierling still exists and can play center and can play third, and is, it's crazy how quickly time moves. I know he did not have a good season last year, even when he was healthy. I don't know if he ever truly was, but he's still a piece of this too. And he's proven to be pretty versatile defensively as well. So yeah, ideal world, it's Parker's spot, but I could very easily see us going through that revolving door again.
Chris Castellani, you guys can follow him on Twitter. You have any updated Michigan basketball thoughts, or is it just, yep, they're really good? Because I'm struggling to come up with new takes with them. They beat everyone to death, and that's kind of where I'm at with that team.
My last thought, and this scares me, to be honest, I don't really like going down this route as a fan, is you're approaching that territory where if you keep this up, there's some discussions about you being all-time good. The way that you're,
But we kind of knew this in November, right? Or at least early December, where it was oh my God, look at what they're doing to teams. If they keep this up, and then they have kept it up, that's the crazy part.
Yeah. They've hit another gear since that Breslin win.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there, because I didn't pick them to win that game. I just thought the way the Michigan State was playing and their defense and going into the hostile enemy territory, I just thought that was written in the stars, hey, Jeremy Fears is just going to do Jeremy Fears stuff down the stretch of the game. I mean, they took it to him, and since then they have not looked back. And then with Arizona losing last night, they win their next 2 games, Northwestern, UCLA. They're probably going to be number 1 for the first time this season come next Monday.
Yep, for sure, man.
All right, Chris Castellani, you guys can follow him on X. Always a good follow there. Always good catching up with you, too. I'm sure we'll catch up sometime during spring training as well. Appreciate you coming on, man.
For sure, man. Appreciate it, buddy.
Absolutely. All right, there he goes. Again, that was Chris Castellani. When we come back, we're going to do our 2 traditions to close out every single show. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, live here on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100. Siding and building repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
Welcome back in. We have two traditions to close out every single show here at the Ben Bosscher Show. The first of those traditions is our Lock of the Day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Unfortunately, Lock of the Day did not hit yesterday. Ridiculous. Truly ridiculous. LaMelo scored 20. The over-under was 19.5. We took his under.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty tough, man. It seemed like he was having a pretty bad game, too. But
He was
that's kind of
having a
just
bad
what LaMelo does. You know, he just kind of works his way to get 20 points. So, did not hit. You're off to an 0-1 start to the week. That's okay, though. You're still up 0.82 units through the first 7 days of February. 7 show days, that is. And you're still 2.56 units up in the big year of 2026. So, pretty good start for you so far. What are you thinking about today?
I'm thinking I just can't get cold. Like, I just got to go 500 the rest of the year. And I'll be
the rest of the year.
Yeah, and I'll be
February.
above. I know, and then I'll be above 500 by the time this thing ends.
Lofty goals from Ben. You know, what you should try to make up for all of your losses in 2025 in 2026.
We started this tradition on January 1st, as far as I'm concerned. The all-time number is lost. That's never getting caught up.
Yep, I've got it. If anyone wants it.
Nope. No. Okay. I'm going to college basketball today. I think this is my first college basketball pick of the season. I didn't like anything in the NBA today. And there's no NHL games.
Yeah,
on.
you never go college basketball, which makes sense with Michigan because they're just not a good team to bet on.
Nope.
MSU has had some opportunities this year, but you just kind of have laid off of it. So
you and I know the MSU strategy. Let the first 4 minutes
live
play out.
Spartans money line after
Yes.
the first media timeout.
Because
correct.
they will be better value after 4 minutes when they score 2 points in the first.
It
chunk
will
of the
be
game.
7-2 at the 15-minute mark of every MSU game. That's when you take them. Yep.
I am going to college basketball today. I'm taking Purdue's money line on the road against Nebraska out of really one reason. They are desperate. They are the most desperate team because they can't lose another game if they want to win the Big Ten. So out of pure desperation and willpower, I think they're going to show up to Nebraska and get a victory. They've already suffered their losses this season. They're a veteran team. They can win on the road. I think their losses came in a bunch, and they're still, to me, the second or third best team in the Big Ten, and they're going to take care of business tonight against Nebraska. That's how I view this game planning out. So I was surprised to even see they were underdogs, to be quite honest. It's just because of that losing skid they
Yeah,
had.
I feel the same way. I'm all over Purdue. When you said this pick, I was like, man, this is like the first time in a while Ben has said something that just like I was already thinking about this pick.
The first time in a while?
Well, just like I don't usually
I don't
like
say anything that you
I don't.
like.
That's okay. Sorry, let me rephrase
For
that.
3 hours. And
I
Kyle's
don't
like,
usually
finally
just
said
like
something right.
before the show. I don't usually scour to see like, oh, what's a good like pick for today. And in my head, I was already like, Purdue is beating Nebraska tonight. So when you said that, I was like, yeah, I'm all over this. I'm with you. Nebraska's superpowers of their awesome home court advantage kind of came to an end when they lost against Illinois. I don't think Nebraska is like frauds by any means.
No,
I still think
real.
they're for sure a good team.
Top 4
but
seed in the tournament, for
like
sure.
you said, Purdue is they've kind of caught their footing a little bit after that 3-game losing streak that they went on. Maybe that just ends up being their only bad spurt of the season, and they bounce back and still end up being one of the better teams in the Big Ten. And I think that continues tonight.
I think we're just getting Purdue at a discount because if this
Right.
game was played a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago,
Yeah, but Nebraska still would have been undefeated. You know?
yeah, that's true. I just feel like that 3-game losing spurt
Yeah.
for Purdue. It's like
Nebraska lost at home. You know, like that's the big thing. If they still would have not lost at home, then I would see this line. But like you said, I thought this would be a Purdue by 1 or 2.5, and they're underdogs. Plus 112 is what you got it at, so I like it as well.
Yeah, I like Purdue in this one. It's number 13 versus Nebraska versus number 7. Purdue is 1.5 in the money or in the spread, plus 112 on the money line. I'll take their money line, and that is our lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Okay, next tradition, guessing what Colin Coward opens with. He takes over airwaves at noon, Fox Sports Radio, The Herd. What do we got today? 2 days removed from the Super Bowl. Now it's kind of like, do you do Super Bowl? Is it general NFL? Right now on First Take, they're doing which team is championship window is closing the fastest, and Stephen A. said the Lions.
He said that.
Yeah, it's up on the
A lot of
screen
Stephen
right
A.
now.
Smith and talking about Detroit lately, man. I sent this to you on Twitter during the break, but like Stephen A. did the thing again where he's like, I'm scared of the damn Pistons. And he's done that all year. Like I think this isn't even a bit. Like he truly is scared of them because
good.
he's a big Knicks fan.
Go to bed
He
thinking
did it,
about our team.
He did it again, man, saying I'm scared of those guys. Like I think it's funny.
Whose turn is it to go first?
It is your turn to go first today. I picked up a point yesterday. I got the Sam Darnold Seahawks lead correct. So
that makes
it
the
is
score
44-37. Ben has a pretty hold touchdown type lead on me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let you go and then kind of decide after that because okay,
that kind of makes me seem like you have something.
No, I
ready
do.
to go.
I have something, but I don't really want to toss it out. But I will say, like, if there ever was a time for a Pistons lead, it feels at least like there's a chance for it here.
I think that's what I'm leaning towards taking. Like, is it redoing more Super Bowl? I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't be shocked by it. You know what? I'll go with the Pistons.
Wow.
Toughest team on the
He's
planet.
going with the Pistons. Okay.
The Bad Boys. Pistons reinvented. Yeah, I'll go with that.
So I'm seeing this headline that says LeBron calls out the Lakers. We're not a championship team.
Oh, no.
Oh, all right. Well, I mean, that's maybe he could talk about the Lakers, but I don't know. It's not like the Lakers are like super in the news right now. I mean, they lost to the Thunder. I guess Thunder-Lakers happened last night. Like that could be a little bit of a talking point, but no Shea. We're about to hit the All-Star
No
break.
Luka either.
Yeah, so I think Pistons would be cool. The number one team in college basketball lost last night, but he's not going to talk about that. Maybe if Darren Peterson would have played, it would have been that type of lead. I think today is when he goes to the Patriots as the lead. I think yesterday was like a Yahoo! Seahawks, we
That's
won
good,
the
Kyle.
Super Bowl. Let's go. And then today is going to be the man, Drake May got exposed. And he's going to do the whole, this is why he didn't win the MVP thing, because he loves that Stafford won it, because he's older. He's done that thing for a while now. I think today he pivots to the Patriots as the lead. And then we're going to start to get into the territory of, random NFL team is the lead. Like Philly, he'll just randomly have them as a lead one day. San Francisco. But I'm going to rock with the Pats today. That's going to be my choice.
It's a good pick. I would just be ashamed of myself if he did lead with the Pistons and I had the first pick and didn't take the
I probably would have
Pistons.
picked it if you didn't, so that seems fair. I don't know, though. It's not like this game was on TV, this was...
But everybody saw it.
Right? And they were talking about it on First Take a lot, too. You're right.
They led SportsCenter with it this
Yeah.
morning. It's not necessarily a
know.
Colin thing. He doesn't usually lean into that. But today could be the day that he ends up just saying, you know what? There's not a lot going on. Pistons had a fight with someone. That wasn't just like a scrap. That was a legitimate fight, which never happens in the NBA.
Fight.
Ever.
There was another fight, too, and it wasn't a real fight. It was like a mini scrap between the Hawks and Magic, I think. And I saw everyone was like, another fight in the NBA.
Nobody's fighting like the
wasn't a
Pistons are
fight,
fighting, man.
Those two guys were just needed to be separated from each other. That was nothing like the Pistons one.
Yeah, no. I don't think there's been a fight like this in a while. When was the last time we legit had punches thrown? Cat and Embiid? But that was 5 years ago.
That was years ago. Yeah, that was years ago. I mean, I would say the Lakers-Pistons fight was a fight.
Yes.
There had to have been one.
Has there been a fight in between?
There's had to have been. There definitely has had to have been. Jordan Clarkson seems to try to fight everybody. I didn't think about that. Pistons.
Ron Holland.
He's on the Knicks now.
Jordan Clarkson.
That adds to him and Ron Holland fought each other when Ron Holland was a rookie. They squared up they were actually about to fight. So that kind of adds to it a little bit. Nice.
I was in the shower when this happened, and I was listening to the game with the volume turned up all the way on my phone. And I was like, "What the hell is going on?" Because Special K and
Johnny Kane
were like, "Oh, they're scrapping, they're getting into it." And I was like, "What's going on?" And then when Kane was like, "And here comes Isaiah Stewart, it's continuing," I jumped out of the shower and was like, "What's going on? What is happening?" And I was just I rewound it right away, and I was just sitting there. Oh my God, I couldn't believe what was happening. And then I spent a long amount of time just rewatching it over and over and over again.
And then that wasn't even the best part of the broadcast last night. The best part is when I love Paul Reed.
I love you, Paul Reed.
I love Paul Reed. Just over and over.
Over and over.
He would score, and that was his analysis for his score. I love Paul Reed. You know what, Special K? I love Paul Reed too. And shout out to Charles Lee too for Charlotte to just last ditch effort. Hey, let's add another ejection into this game.
Yeah.
I'm going to get ejected for something that, it was clear.
He was going to murder the official.
Yeah, he was just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm getting ejected. That was clearly one of those situations.
I think he would have
didn't
killed
work.
the official if he got close enough to him. But his teammates, or his players, held him back in a big way. Great game from the Pistons. They're back in action tomorrow against the Raptors. Nice matchup there because the Raptors bring some youth and defense to the table. 989-837-6125. That's going to do it for us today here on the Ben Bosscher Show. We'll YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, search 100.9 The Mitt, Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, or the Ben Bosscher Show. You'll find us there.
Big Win Wednesday tomorrow, too.
Big Win Wednesday. Friends from Garber Chevrolet are going to be live in the studio. Plus, we're giving away a chance to go see Victor Wembanyama and the Detroit Pistons in action February 23rd. I can't wait to give that away. Kyle and I are going to that game, too, because we have to go see Wemby. We'll see you guys.